African American woman. I think she was a senator, teeing off on Trump. Did you see her? She was really spicy.
No.
U.S. Senator?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, you'd be Kamala Harris. Is that what
No, no.
I think we took care of Kamala.
Yeah, no, this woman was spicy.
No, but you do not come here calling
spicy.
Kamala black.
And the only reason I saw it on Channel 9 this morning, and they played it on BBM on the way in.
Now, United States Senator might be a congresswoman.
Maybe a congresswoman.
Name one U.S. Senator.
Was it?
Be confused to be black.
Good morning, KM. Thank you very much. KM, you running YouTube again today. Thank you very much.
Man, y'all got this shit all fucked up.
Eddie Jones. What's up, y'all?
Number two.
They working, y'all. No, you wanna leave me, but I refuse to let you go. If I had to beg and plead for my sympathy. Remember when you supposed to say symphony? What about the symphony? I don't mind, cause
that's
you
going to be
mean that much
a good, diverse audience.
What?
The Temptations and the Beach Boys.
Oh, you know what though? I love actually watching those when they come on channel 11. Don't forget to like. Thank you, KM. I appreciate you for rocking. KM, we are growing the YouTube audience. Guys, we saw a very unique dynamic yesterday in which both pages were popping. So let's keep it up. Now, I know you all are, I think people like Facebook a lot, but I think YouTube is going to help us expand our universe. So, all right, we're back. Okay, YouTube. KM, keep us rocking. Thank you very much. You guys don't get any music. Sorry. Morning, Linda. All right. Good morning, Eddie. Good morning, Kang, Roberto, Aaron Foster, Keith Rowland, Kunta Kinte, Charles Thomas, Hotep Henry, Ungawa Black Power. What up, Corey Mack, all the way down Peoria? Linda, wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. From what it used to be, there's so much hatred, war and poverty. Oh, 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 wake up, all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best. Hey, Ship, I need a pen. I'm going back on national TV. I want one of the Sigma pens. Get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, girl. Just you and me. What up, Sean? Wake up, all the doctors make the whole people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the ill. They're the ones for so very long. Trying to see if I can get it today before I go down there. Happy before they pass away. Shadow broadcast, y'all. Wake up, all the doctors. Time to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is Let's put it in our minds every time. Good morning, Chicago. Good morning, world. This is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. How you feeling this morning, Charles?
You know, it's the holiday weekend about ready to kick off, but it's so much going on this weekend.
You know what,
we're
man?
hitting 0 hour on so much stuff.
Golly, the time, tick, 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 tick. I feel like the time bomb is ticking. The time bomb is ticking.
A lot of stuff.
The tax time bomb.
Tax time bomb, budget time bomb.
Good Lord.
The barbecue time bomb.
You got barbecue. You got everything going on.
I got to get to the stove.
We got to get to the stove. Not to the store.
Not
to
the store, but to the stove.
You know what? We got to get to the stove today. We got to do our shopping. You know what, man? I miss Moo.
Man, everybody miss Moo. A lot of people miss Moo and Orange.
Man, you know I used to cook, man. Let me tell you, you know what, Charles? We cannot start the day without saying good morning to our whole morning show team. Good morning to Net Flournoy in the newsroom.
Good morning. I know.
You know that.
I know that.
You know, Charles. You know.
Them tips are a little bit too froze.
And always, as always, we cannot do this show without our musical director. Good morning, Miss Sonia Escobar. How are you, darling?
Good morning, guys. I'm super excited. Did you guys listen to that?
You know what? You know what? We have a morning show, and so it came out kind of late, and I kind of had, I kind of fell asleep a little early. You know what? And it's good to know that y'all are still staying up for Hove. J. Hove, the God. Look at Charles.
What?
Hove of the God, man.
I didn't know anything about it, man.
Why am I not
I
surprised?
didn't know anything. Jay-Z's got a new joint out.
Hey,
Is that what they call it?
Yes, man. He got a new joint out.
I didn't know.
No, man.
About it.
No A-track.
What's the name of it?
It's not on the A-track.
It's not on A-track?
Well,
how am I going to play it back?
I'm going to tell you what. This weekend, besides barbecuing, I will also be checking out that Jay-Z album. Thank you very much, Sonia Escobar. Now, Charles, it's so much going on. You know, I wanted to have a lighthearted show. You know, we coming up on barbecue time. I was gonna say, what we gonna do for the what you gonna do for the 4th of July? But it is just so much going on.
I know on the June 30th. I'm gonna go to the store and get some pop.
Let's all have a shopping
trip. I like
trip.
to get some nice drinks because I don't really do much alcoholic drinking. So I want to get me some diet Coke, some Coke Zero. So I'm gonna have to go to the store today to make sure I get that special without that tax winkle effect.
Oh, see, there you go.
Man. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna tell you, I you know what, Charles? What made me super this whole pop tax on the 4th of July weekend. Do you think that it's gonna resonate, man? We're gonna come back to that. Let's come back to that. We're gonna say
now,
that.
You know you get me wound up.
I know you
get me wound up on pop tax.
We gonna come back to that. We are gonna come back to that.
I'm just sidekicking. I'll come back.
No, Charles, you're not the sidekicker. You came up with the question, man. You came up with the question, and so we're gonna try. Because you know what else, Charles? What we gotta talk about in the news, I think we might be doomed in the state, brother. I believe we are doomed. Check this out. Yesterday, the Senate about the people.
Well, I mean, they make the case that if you raise taxes, businesses are going to leave this state, would take their jobs with them, and more people are going to leave the state. And before long, this state is going to be just a wreckage. I mean, probably by Monday, if you don't get a budget or probably let's say next Wednesday, when the financial markets get back in full swing, they're going to declare Illinois bonds junk. In other words, the credit would be the absolute worst of any state in the union, maybe the worst state credit rating in history of the United States. This
Ever.
state, right
What?
here. Where we live.
So, Charles, what is the solution?
Oh, you asking me? Well, George Ryan, as you mentioned yesterday, is suggesting there should be a constitutional convention to just change up everything in Illinois, to make it possible to change the rules regarding pensions and to, make a balanced budget an absolute necessity law. I mean, a real balanced budget. That's the nuclear option, if you will. But maybe that's what this state has to start.
People have to take.
At least have to start talking about at some point.
Goodness gracious.
And it's very critical. This next election is very critical because I think the state, a lot's going to be decided then on what's going to happen moving forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Talk of Chicago, and I'm telling you, I don't have anything good to tell you as it relates to the state budget situation. I think that the people that have elected us, that we have elected to represent us, I am feeling like we have taxation without representation.
And we can talk a lot more about that when Ralph Martier comes on the air a bit later this morning. He's with the Center for Budget and Tax Accountability. Right.
And we also have, stay tuned, because we also have Alderman Gilbert Villegas, chairman of the Chicago's Aldermanic Latino Caucus.
And he's got a lot of experience in Springfield.
He
so
sure
he can
does. He can talk a lot about it.
it.
We'll talk about that. And Uncle Luke is supposed to be making good. We got the books in the mail. Now we just got to make sure he wakes up. All that and much more when we come back at 6:18 on the Talk of Chicago. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so to the YouTube people, our internet went down, so I'm gonna use a personal Wi-Fi hotspot there. So we should be straight on YouTube, and then I will not be beating up everything on Facebook. So KM, I know you got a slow start, but thank you very much. So what's up, Michelle Flagg? Thank you for tuning in. Hey Amina. Hey Linda McGill. What's up, Kunta Kinte? Everybody on YouTube. What's up to my Facebook Live audience as well? Adrian, what time is it? What time is it in Paris? Charles, I feel like I think you got a #1 fan, man.
Yeah, man.
That's good stuff. All the way from Wee Petty. What up, Adrian? What up, Brian Farrell? What up, Philip Samuels? Amina Reese Moe. What up, Chappelle? Raymond Hubbard. Linda McGill. Philip Samuels. KM, I know you on both pages. James Dukes, what's up? Hey, James Dukes, we are looking for a commentator. Today is the last day to submit. If you're trying to do something, you better get it in. What's up, Maya Seals? What up, Ship? Hey, Ship. Maybe if you're on your way to the gig, you can stop by the joint and bring me that. That would be super awesome. What up, Henry Hartsfield? Hotep. What up to my cousin Errol all the way in West Virginia? Straightening up that keeping the police department. How do they kill less black people in West Virginia? How do the police kill less black people in West Virginia than they do in the heart of the North?
What do you mean? West
Virginia, West Virginia, deep south. They don't kill as many. They police don't even kill black people no more. Goodness gracious.
Maybe ran out of them to shoot, man. I don't know. But.
What up, Rob Pay? What up, Ship? What up, Corey Mack all the way in Peoria? What up, Double J? John Joyner. Hey, man, just want to tell y'all. So first, if you all don't know, we got to take the picture because we have to give John Joyner the credit as the architect. I will never forget the day he said to me, he said, May, you got to meet Charles Thomas.
That's what he said.
He said, May, you got to meet Charles Thomas, and I'm going to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm going to make that happen.
And the next thing you know, we were at a White Sox game, and I don't even know if he really knew you at the time.
Yeah, he knew me.
Okay.
We Sox brothers. We're Sox
okay.
brothers.
So it was good. It was so funny because
he plays left field, I play right.
So shout out to John Joyner. Hey John, all the best to you and your family, man. Hope everybody and all is we got your family in our prayers, man. What up, Sean Emmett? What up, Big Brother Kang, Mufasa Red? What up, Kunta Kinte? Good morning, Antonio. Hey, Antonio, I did my studying yesterday as well. Keith Rowland, Aaron Foster, Eddie Jones. All right, y'all. Honey, I'm in need. Oh, yeah, she's a trifling friend indeed. Oh, she's a gold digger. Way over top. That digs on me. Gives me money.
State of Illinois.
Oh. Go ahead, get down. Get down, Charles. Go ahead, get down. Get down, Charles. Go ahead, get down. Get down, Charles. Go ahead, get down. You are tuned into the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. You know what? Let me tell y'all what. It is clearly 4th of July weekend, Friday coming up. You know what? If you are not watching us on YouTube or on Facebook Live, you are missing out because Charles is in here getting his Kanye West on.
I like that beat on that one. That's got a good beat. I'm not a big Kanye fan, but
I
like
can't
that
tell
beat.
right now.
Huh?
I can't tell right now. You got your little.
I like that.
Charles, you know you got that old man. You got that old man smooth.
Yeah.
You know, I think we can bring. You know what? I think Charles, we can invite you to one of the parties, man. You might make it through.
Oh, I can make it through, man.
You know, we might
make it. I make it through. I might have to sleep a couple of days later.
You know what? When that Jay-Z concert comes down, we might have to make sure Uncle Charles is in the building so we can bring you on up to the grown man rap. You know what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. And Charles, before we went to break, there's so much going on. The time bomb is ticking. The tax time bomb is ticking. Charles, I was walking down the street yesterday, and a brother stopped me, and you know what he said? He said, Maze, you don't check your text messages. I said, brother, you know, when I got my show, it's hard for me to check my text messages. He was like, because you forgot the vehicle tax. And you forgot the vehicle second tax.
That's right.
And I was like,
I forgot it too.
He was like, man, it costs $200 to put a sticker on your car. I'm just fed up, Maze.
I know, man. They've gone over the deep end. I think that Tony Preckwinkle should be praying that this judge today stops this tax, because if he doesn't stop the tax, or she, I don't know which judge has it, but if that tax is not stopped, Tony Preckwinkle, I believe, is going to get primaried, and she's going to have a general election opponent.
Gilbert Villegas is outside.
In 2018, and that person's not going to have a lot of money. This is going to be, if you compare it to Anita Alvarez's situation, this pop tax really could be her Laquan McDonald kind of issue. I mean, people are not going to forget this for as long as it's in place. So she should be praying today, I think, that this judge takes this out, and she's just going to have to find another way, a creative way, to come up with this $200 million or whatever it is that is in the shortfall in the county budget, because people right now are primed to take revenge on her.
Ooh, Charles, you better stop. There you go, talking that Republican stuff.
Man, you wouldn't stop that.
You better stop. So look,
I'm independent. I'm trying to be independent.
You cannot be black and independent
That's
in
right.
Chicago.
In
I'm
Cook
telling you
County,
that in
you
Cook
can't do
County.
that.
So,
right.
ladies and gentlemen, social media question of the day. Would the soda tax impact how you vote in the upcoming Cook County elections? Give us a call, 773-591-1690. Post to Facebook. This is the social media question of the day. Charles, you know, you seem to think that this is a big... I don't think... I don't think that the soda tax is that big a deal. I mean, I think it's going to piss
the pop
people
tax,
off.
right?
Oh, with the pop tax.
It's pop tax.
I don't think the pop tax is that big a deal. I mean, I think we're going to be outraged for a minute, but I don't think voters will care. I really don't.
So I think that it's coming on the heels of so many other taxes. I think had it been done early on in this tax game, no, there'd be some other tax that would tip the barrel. But this, I think, goes to working people, and they still haven't taxed the rich the way the Democrats keep talking about.
Charles, I just don't.
Income inequality, that seems to be the clarion call for the Democratic Party. But the fact of the matter is, they have done more, at least in Chicago and Cook County, than even the big corporations, taking money away from working people with these taxes, as opposed to the corporations not raising the pay. I mean, they're taking more from us with the taxes.
So, yeah, Charles, I just don't think. I think that they're going to be able to sell the diabetes, the health issue story component of this. And I don't think that this is really going to have that much impact on them.
They should tax Snickers then. They should tax all these
tax Snickers.
Candy bars and such. But I'll put another penny an ounce tax on that. I mean, if they really are.
Charles, why are you trying to give them a new idea?
They're going to do this. They probably have plans to do it anyway. But the fact of the matter is, I think people are getting sick of these politicians who only can come up. The only answer is more taxes.
Well, Charles, but what about the answer that you're going to cut services? If we don't tax,
they're cutting services anyway. They're cutting services anyway. I think the thing that people really want to know about the contracts that they give to their friends, the fact that they have these bloated bureaucracies where they're paying people to do stuff that they don't need to be paying them for. People want some new solutions other than raising taxes. Because even President Preckwinkle said that she's going to put a moratorium on taxes for 2 years after the soda tax. Come on. In other words, you just told me that you're going to raise taxes again in 2 years. To somebody my age, 2 years ain't no time. That's nothing, man. I mean, maybe that plays with some 21-year-old.
Charles,
but to
I don't know
2 years, man, that's like tomorrow.
But see, I wonder if it plays with a 21-year-old who's not going to see the benefit of it. Right? Because when you're 21 and you're paying all these taxes, it's one thing to say you filling the pensions for I want to show you your respect as an elder, right? So our elders like yourself who are getting these pensions,
and those young people don't have pensions.
They don't, right? I mean, you think about it, the whole way that the world is structured now. That whole pension, get a job for the rest of your life and get through, and then you graduate, and then you're not graduating, you work for 40 years, and then you got a pension, you retire for the rest of your life. Them days gone. Those days are gone, so I don't know how you sell it, but I don't know if voters really care that much. I just think that they count on voters not being engaged and caring about that. And black folks, they're gonna keep their hospitals in jail.
I just think they hit a tipping point. I could be wrong. But I think this is a tipping point. And keep in mind that this whole business in Springfield that's going on. There go that clock, man. Get to the store now. Get your pop.
Are we doomed?
Jewel has 4 12-packs for $8.88.
It is.
Get it now. Get them while they're.
How about this? It's the 4th of July weekend, and you got to buy your pop on June 30th because everybody go buy your pop today. Buy your pop, your Snapple, your juice, your tea, even your juice boxes. Even the babies can't have no juice boxes.
Without no taxes?
No taxing the babies' juice boxes. Man, when we come back, we are going to talk to Latino
But
Caucus.
did you get the social media question of the day in there?
Yeah, we asked. The social media question of the day. Go to Facebook, Twitter, online. Tell us, would the soda tax impact how you vote in the Cook County elections? Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to Talk Chicago at 6:30. We'll be back.
Live from the WVON newsroom, here's our news now.
Waking up to a little fog this morning.
What up? How y'all feeling this morning? Oh, dang. You know what? They came in and said they raised the prices at WVON in the publisher. Alderman Villegas, what's up? Come on, say what's up to the people on the cameras. Alderman Villegas. Look, y'all probably don't know. We go way, 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 way back. He got his own what's in it for the black people stories. He done helped the brother out for some years. Good to see you, man. Grab a seat over there.
We're gonna put you right here, next to Uncle Charles.
Gilbert, how you doing, my brother?
How you doing, man?
Man,
Business,
I'm enjoying
do the social media.
Man, look, you see me, man. Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning with this guy. That's my guy, man.
Is this your power board?
No,
Yeah.
somebody left it.
Oh, what? You all right?
Hey, Todd, didn't we get the new good seats? Can we get him one of the new good ones?
Yeah, man, get him a good one, man.
We got the new good
I do
seats.
got some new news.
We got company today. Hold on, Alderman. We got some.
Wait a minute, you got me the Latino lowrider chair.
All right, hold on, let me do this. You ready?
Not yet, no.
Ooh, we can ask the Alderman the question too. What's up, Chicago? It's your man, Maze Jackson. You are live in the studio at WVON, and as we do every day, except for next week because we're going to holidays, we got a couple days off. We ask the social media question of the day. The time bomb is ticking. The clock is ticking. And tomorrow, what is it? Tomorrow, the 30th, they will raise the...
Tomorrow's the
And
today's
start
the
over.
All right.
3, 2. This is like the first time.
That's the first,
That's the
'cause I
first
tried to
time.
get
That's
too
the
deep
first
with it.
time that we didn't.
I went too deep. All right,
Yeah,
ready?
okay, stand by.
What's up, Chicago? It's your man, Maze Jackson on Talk Chicago 1690 AM. We have the WVON social media question of the day. Man, seems like they're taxing everything. And June 30th, the next day, July 1st, they will raise the pop tax in Illinois. I mean, in Cook County. My question, the social media question of the day. Would the soda tax impact how you vote in the upcoming election? Give us a call, 773-591-1690. Post to Facebook or tweet, and we will get your comments on the air at some point today. Holla back. Peace.
Did you look at the recap video yesterday?
No.
You should look at. You might want to send people to go look at it on the Facebook page.
Okay.
I think he assaulted you.
Ooh, I was assaulted.
I think you may have been assaulted.
Oh.
Where's the long? Where's the long?
And they'll take the shit down if they have to. I mean, they're gonna have the money to do it and to fight it. And
What's up, Alderman? How you feeling, man?
How you doing?
Welcome, man. First of all, we appreciate you coming in the studio
Man, I
on
forgot
such
how
short
far
notice.
south this was.
Huh?
I forgot how far south this was.
Hey, man, you used to spend
No,
some
it is.
time over it,
No,
didn't
no,
you?
it is. Yeah.
Gil, you know you got some chops around here.
I sure
You
did.
got some, you know.
I ran Commissioner Moore's state representative race. Yeah. Against Monique Davis.
Yeah. Paid the price.
State rep race.
Yeah. We lost. We got spanked, but we did it though.
And look, but they both are now elected officials. Let me tell you what, him and Stanley Moore, when they were at IDOT, they was like, dang, I'm trying to think of the two cops. Give me two cops that was the black folk, that they was down for the black people, right? What's them dudes on Cotton Comes to Harlem? What's the two cops in that? Did you ever see Cotton Comes to Harlem?
Yeah.
But the two, I'm just thinking of like, boy, them two would come in the room and be like, excuse me, can we see who's your black vendors? Who's your minority vendors? Gil fall harder for the brothers than he did. That brother helped out a lot.
This
man.
brother's a good brother, man. He represents. I gotta give it to you.
Get him some headphones. We gotta get you some headphones.
I remember when you used to work in Springfield, man. You know,
Yeah.
they used to bring it down there, man. And it's hard. That's hard work down there, man.
It is.
That's hard work.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool though. I appreciate it.
I mean, you got an extensive history, man. You know, Gil and those guys were so yeah, for my WVON listening audience. And you know, Gil, you gotta take the questions, bro. But just for the WVON listening audience, man, Gil put it down for a lot of years in pretty much every agency, and actually, for me, probably if there was to be an example of an opportunity for a black-brown coalition, Gil would probably be in the same mindset, right? Like, they are, what I do admire is that, man, they have taken a bull by the horns and have started to create their own destiny. I think a reality that we need to look at in our community as well. So we'll have a really good conversation. I'm looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about how real is there the possibility of any black, brown,
cash.
Huh?
Tango and Cash.
That ain't who it was though.
Right.
But boy, I'm telling you, them contractors used to be mad when they would be coming through like, hey, excuse me. They be like, well, we can't find any money. Ain't no waivers. They wasn't bullshit. They was not playing, y'all. But they paid a price for it too.
Grave digger and coffin.
There it is.
Yeah.
Grave digger and coffin. But they paid, real talk, they paid a price, yo. They paid a price. Like, it's real, but it's good to see, good to see it come full circle. But you know, over my time in government, there have been a variety of people that I've met that maybe they don't wave a flag and they don't be doing all of this and they not gonna stand up in front and have a big show, but when it's time to pull it for their people, their constituents, they do it. And one of the things I really admire about Brother Villegas and his crew is, they going after it, Joe. Like, they going to get it. They not waiting. Woo! And when I heard about this damn this damn resolution, I was like, oh Lord, what is going on around here? This seems like a man. So we'll talk about all that. I'm looking forward to the conversation. Alderman Villegas, so just so you know, you're on Facebook and YouTube. Both of them will be live, so the cameras stay on the whole entire time. The breaks, we get probably more people watching the breaks than the on.
Be careful, dude.
You know, so.
You're talking good on there.
Yeah. Oh, I've witnessed.
All right, get your headphones back.
I was like, Charles, I didn't know Charles talked like that.
Well, it's a medium. You got to deal with the medium.
I hear you.
Sweet home Chicago. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. And you know what, Charles? Ordinarily, we be going into the social media question of the day. But I got an email alert yesterday. I saw this. There was a resolution in the city council. And I said, we got to talk to this brother right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, in the studio, live with us, we have, what is Alderman? You are from the 29th Ward? 36th Ward, I'm sorry. 36th Ward Alderman and Chairman of the Latino Caucus, Gilbert Villegas. Welcome to the studio, Alderman. How are you today?
Thank you, Maze. I'm doing well. And Charles?
Hey man, look, it's good to see you. It's very interesting when we get a politician here these days, because a lot of them don't want to show up, man. A lot of them don't want to come in here because we ask some real questions about some real issues, and it's there you go.
The Lions, you waking up the Lions?
You're waking up the Lions, but I admire your courage, and I know you've always been a straight shooter. I met you when you were actually working in Springfield.
Yes.
And you were down there, man. You were taking on the good fight. And I always loved you, man, because you always represented your people. The people, you were out there for people. And I appreciated that. But we got some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
So let's jump right into it. And I know we got a lot of questions and they're going to span the distance. But right now, Alderman, what we really want to talk, first thing I want to talk about is this resolution that you proposed in City Council. You proposed a resolution for a civil rights investigation. Break it down for me. What happened?
Yeah, well, it could be taken that way, but the reality is that I proposed this resolution given the Tribune article that showed that there was some issues with the way that the property taxes are being assessed, and it predominantly is hurting the minority community. So what I did was my resolution talks to having the Mayor's Corporation Council have the ability to either represent the taxpayers, the City of Chicago taxpayers, at these Board of Appeals, or if they can't handle the volume, to bring out a pro bono attorney, a law firm rather, to assist with assist with at least having an opportunity to voice some opposition to all the undervaluations that are occurring in the city of Chicago.
But you're doing this as the chairperson of the Latino Caucus, but you were basically turning loose the dogs on arguably the highest-ranking Latino elected official in Cook County, Joe Barrios, who's the assessor and the local Cook County Democratic Party chairman.
Well, the reality is that, again, in my community, we're talking about properties value, people's properties value they're just being overassessed. And so it's Chairman Barrios is the assessor. Whether he was the assessor, whoever's the assessor, the bottom line is that the taxpayers are paying, are not, in my opinion, are not having their properties assessed properly.
Okay, but let me just read piece of the resolution. The resolution is to address racial and financial inequities associated with the real estate tax assessment system. So, Alderman, are you suggesting that the real estate tax assessment system is racist? And if it is, how does that impact, for our station, the black community, which is a loyal supporter of the Democratic Party?
I think it is racist. I mean, when you take a look, perfect example, Willis Tower sold for $1.2 billion. It was put in cranes, sold for $1.2 billion. They were able to get it undervalued, and now it's at $600 million. So it's $600 million that is just.
But they said our schools are about to close. Our state, our budgets. Our budget is imploding, and they gave a tax cut.
Yes, and what I'm saying is, there's nothing wrong with challenging the overassessments, but you have to be realistic and you have to be fair. I mean, you purchase it for $1.2 billion, and then 2 years later it's worth half that. I don't think that. And then when at the same time in the minority communities, you purchased a home for $150, and all of a sudden it's $200,000. Well, if that's the case, here you could come buy my house for if I just realized the gain of $50,000. So there's a problem there.
So is this? So relate that to the party. I mean, the Democratic Party talks about taxing the rich, taxing the rich. Here we got Democrats helping the rich pay less taxes while they charge us soda tax and bag tax and all these other taxes that affect working class people. I mean, how have you reconciled your own party's involvement in this kind of system? I'll be kind.
Right. So there's a big discussion about the progressive tax, which I'm a huge proponent of, and it will literally only impact 10% of the population, which are your millionaires and billionaires, which are not us. So we need to take a look at getting that constitutional amendment so that way we can move forward with this progressive tax. But that needs to be started
done
now.
at the state level.
That's at the state level, correct. I mean, at the city level, we could only do so much, but that needs to start going now, because that would be 2020 when there would be an opportunity to have that convention and so forth.
But you've been in Springfield. You were down there.
Yes.
You worked there as a lobbyist.
No, actually,
I'm sorry.
I was with the Illinois Department of Transportation and the Capital Development Board.
Got it. And I would see you in the hallway. That's where I met you.
Yeah.
Why do you think that hasn't happened? I mean, you were down there during the times when we had a Democratic governor, a Democratic-controlled House, a Democratic-controlled Senate, and nothing ever happened. Why not on the progressive?
Right. That's a great question. I think that you had the perfect opportunity to move forward with that, especially when other states are going in that fashion. And they should be talking about that, in my opinion, down in Springfield right now, passing some type of either resolution or some type of bill that would put the governor in a bad predicament where he would have to veto a progressive type of tax because it's going to affect him personally.
Why don't they do that? Sometimes some people get the feeling they don't want to do it because for the same reason Republicans don't want to do it.
Well, so remember, I've been an alderman for 2 years.
Yeah, man, but you're a veteran of the game.
You know the game.
You know the game.
They're just saying this. So during the budget hearings, initially during my first budget hearings, we were talking about a lot of times about diversity, about within the city department. So the second year, we had the same discussion. So I introduced an ordinance that would talk about that. And so one of my colleagues, African American alderman colleagues, told me, "Why are you introducing that ordinance?" I'm like, "How long have you been here?" They're like, "I've been here 20 years." I said, Are you tired of asking the same questions for 20 years? I said, I've been here 2 years. Here's the ordinance right here to address this because I don't want to talk about this.
That's why I love you, man.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Latino Caucus Chairman Alderman Gilbert Villegas. Alderman Villegas has put in a resolution calling our property taxes assessment system potentially racist, and has filed a resolution to allow for pro bono assistance. But here on this show, we always talk about how this all relates to really the politics of it all. And it seems like you are taking a shot directly at the heart of the power base of the Democratic Party. So I want to talk about that when we come back, because I think that the system is powered through this property tax system, the power. So we'll talk about that when we come back on the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. It's your man, Maze Jackson, Charles Thomas, and we've got Latino Caucus Chairman Gilbert Villegas in the studio. We'll be back.
More of the morning show with Mace.
So seriously, Gil, like really, do you fear a political retribution? Okay, so we know Barrios, we know Madigan, we know Burke, right? We know that they make multiple millions of dollars in the process of reducing property taxes. But they're also the leaders of the party. They got infinite amounts of money, troops, resources, power to put against you. Do you fear any retribution? I said last year that somebody ran off the plantation, huh?
Ask it on the air.
Man, I said ran off the plantation, and boy, they came out.
Well, so when I ran against Joe Barrios' godson. So, at the end of the day, it's not those folks that determine who's going to represent them. I was able to take my story to the voters and say, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I did over 10 years of state government. I've managed multi-billion-dollar capital project budgets, multi-million-dollar operation budgets. And so this is the type of experience I think would fare well in City Hall. And so I took that story to them, and I was elected 56-44. So, and thank God I had relationships, because there was a lot of money that came against me, but I was able to at least not match it dollar for dollar, but at least 75 cents to the dollar.
Talk to me about, and this is for our backstory, but talk to me about kind of what it's like to go against kind of the power establishment and what really are the repercussions, the consequences.
That's good stuff for the year too, man.
Well, but I've been involved in and around politics for 20 years. So obviously that was my first time as a candidate, but I know that it takes you're gonna have to have money and troops in order to defeat anybody and be successful in any race. But that being said, I had great relationships as far as the fundraising side, and then being 20 years around politics, I had a lot of friends, and so I was able to organize both, and that's how it became successful.
You are. I'm gonna get them back.
You're gonna do that one on the air, right? Because that's a good one. Because that's what we can learn from that. That's a good one.
The other thing that strikes me about you, right, and I hear this all the time, is like, man, that Villegas is aggressive. Right, I hear that. I hear it from aldermen. I hear it from workers.
You hear it from Walter too. Huh?
I hear that guy is aggressive. He's always pushing. What is it that makes you get that reputation of being aggressive? And do you, pushing for people instead of the...
I am aggressive because what happens is if you wait for someone to do something for you, then you're going to be waiting a long time. Remember, power is always taken, and it is never given. So, that being said, I have a time here. I have a contract with my ward for 4 years. During that time, I'm going to represent the community the best I can. And then when I go back to re-up my contract...
he said going up. Is that an announcement?
When I re-up my contract and they say, hey, look back at what you did, I'll be able to point and say, look, I did this, I did this, I did this. Do you think I did a good job of representing you? And they'll either say yes or no. But see, I've introduced tons of ordinances and resolutions already, because that's how you move things.
I'm gonna tell y'all. Check this out, right? I talk a lot of shit, a lot. That dude right there is the truth, man. Bro. He used to call me and be like, "You know somebody who could do this contract," when he was at the Capital Development. Years old. And what I love most, she had so much soul. She was old school, and I was just a shorty, never knew throughout my life. She would be there for me on a regular, not a church girl. She was secular. I respected her. Let me in that part. A few New York niggas had dinner in the park, and I was there for her. I was there for her and to cool out. Wishing that I could do her. To be. Mentally. Come around. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. As we do, we are talking to Latino Caucus Chairman, Alderman Gilbert Villegas. Now, Alderman, before we went to break, it seems like as I look at this resolution, it seemed to me to be a shot across the bow against the leadership of the Democratic Party. Charles mentioned this being the shot at the highest ranking Latino, but it seems like there's a coup. Is there a coup in the Democratic Party, particularly in the Latino community where you represent?
I wouldn't say so much a coup. I went to the pre-slating at the Democratic Party last week, and when I was there was a lot of discussion about diversity, which I'm in total favor for. However, I'm also in favor of parity, and so we need to make sure that when we're taking a look at the Democratic Party and its base, that we make sure that there's parity there. So Latinos make up 33%, about 30% of the city, 25% of the county. And so when that slating occurs, I want to make sure that ticket, the Democratic slated ticket, represents those same numbers as well.
Yeah, but by taking on this whole property tax situation, you are basically challenging the Cook County Party Chairman and Mike Madigan, because they make money. I mean, Mike Madigan, I know, makes money from this system.
And your colleague.
But you're taking them on directly. I mean, here you are, a Democrat, rank and file Democrat, if you will, an elected official, but you're taking on the boss, man. And we don't see a lot of that in the black community. We don't see black state reps and black aldermen taking on the party directly as you're doing. And it gives us a sense that maybe there's some kind of coup going on in the Latino caucus or among Latino politicians, as opposed to what's happening with blacks.
Well, I would just say that when the Tribune investigation really opened my eyes, because again, in my community, we're being impacted big time. And so I'm not saying that those folks that are in that business of representing buildings and corporations, I'm not trying to attack them. What I'm saying is my constituents are hurting.
And blacks are too, but we don't see any black politicians going out front like that,
so,
do we?
I'm not sure I've seen anybody take that on. And I found it interesting that you filed the resolution in the Finance Committee. So again, understanding that the most powerful, omnipotent alderman, maybe the most powerful person in the city of Chicago, is the chairman of the Finance Committee. Did you not think that could cause some ire? And when we talk about that, we're talking about Alderman Ed Burke.
Right.
So
that is a finance-related issue, and so I'm not going to be afraid to take it to the Finance Committee. If he wants to hear it, we hear it. If he doesn't want to hear it, the public will say, "Hey, we want to hear this resolution. We want him to act on it."
You put him on Front Street on blast too, right?
His community is my community. He represents a Latino ward, and so I'm sure that their properties are being overassessed as well. So I'm the chairman of the Latino Caucus, so I take that very seriously. And if the Latino community is hurting, I want to help.
But would some argue that he is a member of the Latino caucus by virtue of the fact of who he represents?
Oh, absolutely. And so I've asked all those aldermen that represent Latino wards that they need to start getting involved now with the Latino caucus and not have the ability just to come to us when there's an issue. So
Wait. You told the powerful chairman of the finance committee, you told the people that are not Latino, that represent Latino areas, they better come to the table.
I see. So I'm a gentleman. I didn't tell them. I asked them. I said you should be involved with the caucus, and I asked.
Was this like an offer you can't refuse? Was it one of those kind of asks?
I asked Alderman Burke, Alderman Zalewski, and Alderman Quinn to get involved with the Latino caucus because they represent a Latino ward. What
was their response?
Alderman Zalewski and Alderman Burke said yes. Alderman Quinn had to go. I think he had to go.
Yeah,
check.
Go see. Check.
Who did he have to check? What do you mean he had to go check? Who did he have to go check?
By the way, folks, Mike Madigan is the Democratic committee man for the 13th ward.
But it would make smart political sense, don't you think, for him to join because, again, they represent a majority Latino area?
Right, and I think that he should be a part of that caucus because we talk about a lot of Latino issues, and not just come to us when they're in crisis. They need to be part of the caucus initially, and not just come back to us when there's any issues coming up.
It seems to me as though Alderman Villegas has hijacked what's in it for the black people and is now saying what's in it for the Latinos. Hey, brother, I'm not mad at that, though. You weren't worried about any repercussions. Hey, man, I'm saying that when you are taking on some powerful people, do you not worry about the repercussions? I mean, they can raise infinite amounts of money. It seems like you're not afraid to represent your interests over the party's interests. How do you manage that? How do you manage your interests over the party's interests?
Because I remember that. I always remember that when I'm at City Hall that I'm representing my ward. All those other 49 aldermen can't vote for me, and they can't vote against me. So everything that I'm doing is really reflective of what the community is asking me to do. That's who I represent. That's who I work for. And so if the community tells me they want to move in a certain fashion, then that's how I move. If they want to go in a different direction, then I go in a different direction.
Isn't that something, man?
So, Alderman,
he still sits here, you know, he's alive.
Alderman, you still sitting there. So, you know, that makes me ask a quick question. What are you seeing with the mayor? Do you anticipate supporting the mayor in his upcoming run? In his upcoming election?
Right now, I'm trying to see what's going on with the state right now. The state is in crisis. We have some serious issues right now, and that's everybody should be focused on the state. The mayoral election that when that comes up, we'll take a look at that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. We are talking to Latino Caucus Chairman Alderman Gilbert Villegas. When we come back, he said we got to talk about the state. Let's talk about the state. It's 6:59 on Talk Chicago. Damn! Anybody got any questions, comments, concerns? Hey, man. So, Gil, who is your? So I'm saying if I was to say to look at the Latino community, right? Mm-hmm. I would say that there's probably three groups that I could readily identify. So I would say like your crew, which seems to be growing. I would say kind of like the Chewy, kind of like the Cultural League group, and then kind of like the Vic group, right? Like the we locked in with the. How do you see the power? How do you see the power structure aligning up? Like who? I used to think that the most powerful dude was Louis Gutierrez. Now I'm starting to, and then I thought it was Vic, right? Because they funneled all the resources through him. Where do you all fit into that, or are you all literally looking to take it?
Well, I would say that
Because apparently you're eradicating, you're picking the wings off of the old Northwest Side political organization. I think they only got dude left.
Yeah, well, you have to take a look at how. What I'm looking at is as the city prospers and other neighborhoods prosper. How is our community doing? And if
When you say whose community?
The Northwest Side. That's why I represent.
Okay.
So if the Northwest Side is not prospering, and we have elected officials there that are not doing their part to help us prosper, then that tells me that there needs to be a change. And so that's why I got involved in it, because I wanted
When you
to,
say prosper, what do you mean?
well, I mean, for example, when you take a look at a lot of the development is occurring downtown in the central area, and so development, in my opinion, is about relationships. And so if you're not utilizing the relationships that you make in order to bring developments and resources to your community, then really you're just keeping it for yourself. And so in my short time, I've been able to try to build relationships with developers and folks that are interested in investing in the city and say, hey, here's the Northwest Side of the city. I even made a brochure. I made a brochure of my ward that shows about demographics, median household income, etc., and saying, look, don't invest because of me. Invest because of the data that shows there should be some investment in this area. And so I've been able to recruit some developers in that area, but it takes a lot of work. I'm constantly, I'm a salesman for the area. And I'm telling them, hey, come on, invest over here. And they're like, we're not interested, or they'll go take a look at it and say, oh, I didn't even know this was here. So they have to be exposed to that part of the community and know that we have dollars to spend as well. So,
Gil, so what made you, right, as a man, bro, I know you done played the game. I mean, you've been part of the establishment. What makes you get the courage, or what makes you finally say, hey man, we breaking from this and we're going to determine our own fate? Like I want to know what made you decide to break away from the traditional party.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at Joe Moreno, right, where Joe is like, it seems like it's an alliance of the young.
Joe got more excited about the resolution. He looked at it more from the political side. I'm looking at it more from my community is hurting, and really our communities are hurting. And so how do we remedy this? The Tribune did a investigation on this, and the University of Chicago had a program they developed to help with the fair assessment. The University of Chicago is probably one of the premier institutions in Illinois and throughout the country. And so why wouldn't you use their data and their method in order to try to make this fair for everybody? And they chose not to use it. And so now, as it relates to the other things about politics. So, Maze, you're married, right? Yeah. So, do you agree with your wife 100% of the time?
No, can you tell by this damn show?
So if you get 80% of the time agreement, or 70% of the time, you winning.
Right.
So with me, we can agree on a lot of things, but there's some things we're not going to agree on. And I'm going to stand up because my community's saying that's what they want. So that's what I do.
Do you think that it's time for a change in the leadership of the party, of the Democratic Party? Do you think that the people that lead us now are out of touch?
That Thursday pre-slating meeting when I went there was an eye-opener. That was my first time going to one of those.
And what did it open your eyes?
There was probably 50 or 60 committeemen that were there, and there was 5 people really running the show, and everybody else was just there. Now, this is okay with having an executive structure, but every committee man or woman has equal vote.
Well, they don't have an equal vote. They got a weighted vote.
Well, no, they have an equal vote, meaning that they, on a county-wide.
Oh, yeah.
They have one vote. So that's the part that I was like, wait a minute, this is not right. And then my community, I didn't see a lot of Latino presenters, and I didn't see a lot of Latinos that were being potentially slated. And so I'm like, wait a minute, if that's the case, then I told Commissioner Daley that if there's no parity on the ticket, I'm prepared to talk to my colleagues about running a campaign to tell the Latinos to stay home. It's not.
What?
Fair.
What? Now, I'm just gonna tell you, if I said some shit like that, I'd be lynched. Dead. Okay. How? Really?
He thought it was a serious issue, and I hope he brings it up to the leaders of the party that there needs to be parity. I'm looking for parity. I want to make sure that there's diversity, and I want to make sure there's parity.
Well, and do you think there's parity for black people in the party? No. Well, do you think there's parity for black people in the party? And then my other question would be, as the chairman of the Latino Caucus, watching, do you think that black people are getting the representation they deserve for their votes?
So I would,
looking at our communities.
yeah, I would say that there is some parity. It could always be. It could always be better. I mean, I would say that. And
You starting?
Yeah, let's go.
Can I start with a question?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Hey. 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 I'm living in the 21st century, doing something mean to it, doing better than anybody you ever seen do it. You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Alderman Gilbert, Villegas. I just want to remind all the WVON listeners, today is the last day for submissions. If you want to take my spot, take the slot, take the crown. You want to be the commentator. You want to be the next WVON commentator. 275 words or less. YouTube or MP3, email it to commentator@WVON. Ladies and gentlemen, back in the studio, Alderman Gilbert Villegas. Charles, take it away.
As chairman of the Latino Caucus, Chicago City Council, why should black people care about the sanctuary movement? In other words, what's in it for the black people regarding the sanctuary movement?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, should the African American community care about that? When you take a look at the immigrants that are coming in, like maybe on the north side, with the African immigrants, there could be some empathy there. But you got to remember that it's just not Latinos, though. I mean, 50% of it's probably Latinos. But
in Chicago, it's more than 50%. I mean, there's a huge, people that cross the southern border, who have crossed the southern border illegally, who have settled in Chicago because we have invited people. We are what the mayor calls the welcoming city. But why should black people who suffer this incredible unemployment rate, horrible schools,
Tale of three cities according to UIC.
Yeah, I mean,
Tale of three cities.
Why should we care about it? Tell us. I mean, because we just need to know.
Yeah. So you should care for it. You should care about it because you're talking about people, whether you come from south of the border or from overseas, people that are coming to this country with an American dream and want to do the best. Now, unemployment, you're talking about the lack of investment in the south and west sides of the city. So those are two different things. Sanctuary city. I mean, because there are not enough opportunities on the south and west sides as far as development and investment, and that's been going on for quite some time. But those are two different things.
But Alderman,
yeah,
and respectfully, but when we drive through our neighborhoods, and you know it because we've talked about it. You drive through our neighborhoods through the south and west side, and we see Latinos working and black folks not working. And when you say the people come here with the hope of the American dream, we were born here with the hope of the American dream. So why specifically do black people say, when the mayor stands up and says we need to be, and I want to make sure that the dreamers, I mean, what's in it for us? Take all the compassion out of it.
Okay, so as it relates to if you're driving down 87th Street and you see the construction crews, that is a separate issue because we're talking about diversifying the unions at that point. When you take a look at whether it be Local 150, when you take a look at the Teamsters, you're talking about diversifying a workforce that just there hasn't been a true dedication to that. Now you have Dunbar that is taking a look at vocational school. I'm in the process of trying to get Prosser vocational school to get some building trades, because there hasn't been a commitment. The commitment from CPS has been that they want to send their kids, all kids, to go to college. Well, my opinion on that is that there's going to be a large percentage that are going to go into the workforce. And so how do we get those young men and women into a career that will ultimately...
But we're leaving. We're going. I mean, by the time we get all that done, we're out of here.
But you know, I want to go back to that question. Why should we invest ourselves politically or emotionally even into the sanctuary movement, given the fact we have so many? I mean, we got 99 problems, as your boy Jay-Z says.
Did you say JB, man?
Jay-Z says we got 99 problems, but why do I think immigration ain't one? I mean, and do you understand why black people?
No, I understand that, and I respect some of my colleagues in the city council that don't support that, and that's okay. That's their opinion. They're representing their community's interests, and we're going to represent our community's interests, and so that's kind of what that's about. We try to explain to the African American community, hey, this is how.
What's the trade? Is there a trade? Is there something? See, my thing is we can beef for whatever.
Yeah, but
we need a pre-negotiated settlement, right? We got to figure out what's in it for the black people. Yeah. Like, I think that there's this thing that everybody says, oh, well, there's African immigrants. Well, when the Haitians came, they pushed the boats back. So our issue in the grand scheme of things is, what's the pre-negotiated settlement? What are we going to get out of supporting this issue?
Yeah. Well, that's so right now our communities are not in power right now, so there's really nothing for us to trade right now. But at some point, as negotiations go, I would be more than happy to talk about.
But you see the need. Do you understand why there would be pushback in the black community over this, and without any discussion, like we just supposed to go with it? You know what, Alderman? So talk to me about this black-brown coalition, or does it exist? Yeah. Is it real? Can it be?
Hey, Mays, I had asked you during the break, were you married? And you said yes. And so the realization is that with a black-brown coalition, we need to take a look at certain things that we can agree on. We're not going to agree on everything. And so right now, what I'm hearing in the city council, specifically during the budget season, will be about employment within the city, as well as contract opportunities. And so both caucuses right then and there can agree that we're underrepresented. And so that coalition could exist to try to fix those wrongs. Now, that being said, I talked about an ordinance that I introduced related to try to fix things, because I had kept hearing it over and over. I teamed up specifically with an African-American alderman, and we put forward an equal employment opportunity ordinance to talk about the diversity, and in that language.
But how are you going? We know, you talked about it earlier. We know that the biggest issue, like at the water department, like what we're seeing, is the institutionalized racism that is there. And so many times, Alderman Villegas, it seems like when there's an opportunity to ally, it does not seem like the Latino caucus is seeking to align with the black caucus. It seems like not with black folks, it seems like they're seeking to align with the power structure. How will we deal with that?
Well, so that might have been from the past caucuses. So I've had a lot of discussions with Alderman Sawyer, chairman of the Black Caucus, to talk about certain things. You saw just recently in May, Alderman Sawyer and myself, we spoke about the North Branch development, and where him and I both said in a press in a newspaper that we wanted 66%. 66%. 66% of all the work to go to minorities, because we
is you crazy?
No, so that's exactly what the reporter asked me, and I said, well, you started at 0. So if you start at 0, we start at 66. I think we can get to the middle. And so as a result, the planning department is going to be coming in at 26 and 6 on some private developments where there was no goal initially. So we took it from 0 to 32.
Wait a minute. You know what that made me think of, Charles? Remember when Chris Kennedy came on here and said he didn't even believe that there should even be any goals on private developments downtown? Do you believe there should be goals on projects downtown? What if it doesn't take city money?
There has to be a zoning change or some type of city action that needs to take place for development. And I think it's incumbent upon that alderman that's representing that project to say, we want some representation that occurs. And so at the North Branch, we didn't see that happening. And so I think Alderman Sawyer and myself said, hey, you know what, we're going to start the dialogue.
But when you got an alderman like 42nd Ward Alderman Brendan Riley in downtown where all the development is going on, why in the heck does he want any more black people coming to his neighborhood? He's locking the gates.
Well, it's about relationships, and so what you do is you talk to the alderman where the development's going, especially if it's a multi-million-dollar development, and say how can we get our communities involved in these types of projects.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Chairman of the Latino Caucus, Alderman Gilbert Villegas. When we come back, we'll take your calls, some comments, some questions, plus we'll wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an interesting conversation, and we're going to ask Alderman Villegas, what's in it for the black people? We'll be back.
More of the morning show with Villegas.
Man, Gil, so what do you see as the... Tell me how you see... What do you see happening in this next election? In this upcoming election cycle? Wait, hold on. Let me go back to this, though. And did we do this on air? Did you say to Chairman Daley that you were going to literally have a campaign to tell Latinos to hold their vote? Like, isn't that anti-democratic? Won't that put us in the worst state ever? I mean, and that would mean that you could potentially re-elect Governor Bruce Rauner, who's been the worst person in the world for our whole entire state.
No. So
I mean, that's a big statement. Withhold your vote?
Well, because it's a serious issue. I mean, if they're serious about including us in the democratic process and being part of the Democratic Party, then we need to be represented as such. Period.
Fucking gangster, man. See that? I'm telling you. Let me tell you what.
See, I'll tell you at the end of the day.
No.
Okay.
You tell me now.
I can't tell you now.
Oh, damn.
But you're my boy.
Uh-oh.
You my boy.
Okay.
I love you, man.
Okay. Man.
You gotta start the dialogue. You just can't wait. If you wait, you keep getting the same old thing.
You want to work for? You want my seat? You can come here every morning.
Well, you try to make it
won't be any different. Won't be any different.
I mean,
you say the same thing I say every morning on the folks, man. You know, only you say it, you know, from your perspective, but you're on the right track. I mean, you know, you gotta like become a broker.
Yes.
For your people, you gotta be a broker, man. You know, that's what you like. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to broker, man.
Yeah, I'm taking the experiences I learned in Springfield, but dealing with the legislators, and since I have that experience, I have a better bully pulpit now. I'm able to demand a couple more things. So.
Y'all keep talking, man. I mean, man, I'm sitting here like, I just feel like what you're talking about, you hear rumbles in black folks saying they would love to do something like that.
It's more than rumbles, Mace. I think a lot of people are saying, and I don't think it's being expressed on the level where it should be expressed, which is at the council, at the state house. It's not being expressed there by those people who get the jobs, the elected reps. But down here, man, I think people are saying it every day. They're saying it every day. And
I'm sitting. I promise you, though, I'm sitting here with my mouth open, thinking about you sitting up there going to the party, being like, "We're willing to withhold our votes," and they being like, "Well, we need to talk about this."
Exactly.
I'll be back.
You know the damn thing about it. You know, I've actually, man, I could never see myself. I thought I could never see myself saying that. You know, don't vote for something, because you know it's so hard to get people up and running to vote.
Yeah.
And to ever tell people not to vote because you're not voting for your own interests, by voting for some of these people that are doing nothing. We got a lot of them. Many more than.
Well, you know, it's tough, but sometimes you have to.
I'm telling you.
You have to.
I ain't make that.
Take a stand.
I ain't make
So
that list
what I'm
yet.
saying is, I want parity. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for, you know, to have the whole slate.
You will.
I'm saying there needs to be a
Fox will do
fair
it for you.
reflection.
But I mean, when you talk about switching
I'll take
out,
it.
So the same thing
switching
budget.
out.
That's topic.
Yep.
Really sweet. Oh yeah, they loved you, dude.
No, I appreciate it.
Switching
I'm
out
sorry, I'm
35.
fired up.
I mean, you still got Latinos.
Well, that's
What you've got.
Okay.
Yeah, let them know.
People
All
that
right.
are a little more
And then,
Yeah.
about it.
We'll get
That's
the time right now.
Well,
Yeah,
She said 12 o'clock again.
People get
Like
too
some
complacent.
in the 12 o'clock,
Get
between 12 and
complacent.
12:30. They didn't know which
You
time.
gotta-
I gotta remember. Yeah, but I think that's easy.
And so I grew up. I got.
I was there at 12.
I grew up in
You were?
Villegas.
Our time.
And
It came on 12 our time.
so I know how it is.
Guys,
Right?
that song is something else. Are you listening to the music? You are tuned into the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. We have Latino Caucus Chair Alderman Gilbert Villegas in the building. Charles, you know, we've been talking. I'm going to go ahead and let the callers, we're going to take some calls. Let's go to Thomas. You're on the Talk Chicago. Thomas? Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to commend the alderman for this resolution and for having the gumption to go against the powers that be. And this is, I'd like to know how many of the black aldermen have signed on to support him in this resolution.
Thank you, Thomas.
Well, Thomas, I didn't get any of my African American colleagues to sign on to it. But then again,
Whoa!
Wait.
Then again, to be fair, I had about 3 or 4 ordinances that I was running around, so I just wanted to get all 4 of them filed. So I went to a couple of aldermen that I knew would sign on without really having to explain the background of the resolution.
So they still have a chance to sign on.
Yes.
Is what you're
Oh,
saying.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Maybe you want to offer a plea to your, because they're listening. So if you want to offer a plea to your colleagues to sign on, what ordinance is that?
Well, that's my resolution.
Oh, you're asking them to
On the
sign on
property
to the
tax
resolution
piece.
on the process. Hey man, you ain't about to get nobody to sign on no resolution to talk. Man, do you know how many millions of dollars they will spend to whoop on the black people? They'll negotiate with you. They gonna want to whoop on us. Israel, you're on the Talk of Chicago 1690. We got Latino Caucus Chairman Gilbert Villegas.
Yes, sir. That's a good friend of mine. How you doing? Yeah, I've known him. I've been knowing that man for a long time. I knew he was a stand-up man, but man, he make me reconsider some things. But anyway, I'm calling because me and George Blakemore, I'm the new George Makebo at the Chicago Plan Commission, and Commissioner Reifman, we've been putting so much heat on them. We're going to make them this month. They should be putting 26 and 6 on them private developments downtown. So when he just said they wanted 66% on that North Branch development, I was wondering who Reifman was talking to. So I guess he was talking to him and Sawyer, because it's some major changes going to happen in that plan development and Chicago Plan Commission. So I just want to tell him and Sawyer, a friend of mine, to keep up the fight, because I'm fighting in one end, they fighting on the other, and we're going to make a lot of things within it for the black people.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You see that, right? There is a 2-pronged strategy, but you got to make the demand. You got to make the demand. And you only been, how long you been an alderman?
2 years.
Man, we got some that have been down there for what?
No comment.
No comment.
Let's go to Jay. Jay, you're on the Talk of Chicago. You got Latino Caucus Chairman Alderman Gilbert Villegas. Jay?
Hello?
Jay, go for it.
Yes, thank you. Just a fundamental question. Alderman, you've heard the black community at least made them stand what's in it for the black people. The question is this: how does the so-called Hispanic community feel about the term, and do any of them identify as being black themselves?
Currently on the caucus, no, I mean,
Gil, are you Puerto Rican?
I'm Puerto Rican.
You count, bro.
Yeah.
You count.
I'm Puerto Rican, and I also grew up in the projects on the north side, Lathrop Homes. So.
Well,
Humbling beginnings.
So you know something about that arroz y gandules.
Yes, I do.
ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Latino Caucus Chairman Alderman Gilbert Villegas. Alderman, so looking at the city of Chicago, looking at everything that's going on, looking at the tale of three cities now, as we talk about, as we look at the city the taxes going through the roof, what really is the outlook for the city of Chicago and the state?
Right. Well, I think the state, the biggest issue right now is that the state doesn't have a budget, and that's really impacting all municipalities.
Whose fault is it?
Whose fault is it? I think that it's the speakers of the House. Senate President, Senate Minority Leader.
She quit.
Man, and the Republican leader and the governor.
Do you want us to go
talk about that?
Do you want us to go out in your look under your car?
You want us to start your car for you? Yeah. See, that's why we keep our cars by the window. You calling some names, man, you're going to get in trouble.
Don't be talking about the speaker like that, man.
What I'm talking about is those people that are in power. They need to come to a room and negotiate something that is compassionate and that's fair.
You've been in Springfield. Why? And we're getting ready to go into an election cycle.
Yeah.
Why should we send anybody in Springfield back if they have not been able to get us a state budget? I mean, you think about the state of affairs here. How many people are gone out of business, won't be back? Why should we send anybody back to Springfield?
Well, I would say the majority of the state reps and senators want to do the right thing, but you've got a few people that are in power right now that are just not willing to negotiate.
But what about the people? Look, are any of your residents hurting from this lack of budget?
Absolutely.
And so when does it become about the people and not about this? Because let's be real, this is a battle of the will between two people, a battle of the titans. The senators say yes, they would pass a budget. What role do Democrats have in it? Who do we blame? Who do we blame?
Well, you can't blame anybody right now because you've got, like you said, you have a battle of will between two people right now. And the governor, in my opinion, he's a businessman, and he's trying to bring that concept of running the state as a business. And you can't do that because, how do you? He's about the bottom line and for profit. How do you put a bottom line or for profit on a DCF child?
All I'm saying is let me not even defend the governor, but I'm saying at some point we've got to come to a compromise. Gil, the state has been in a shambles for years. Did it just happen in these last 2 years, or has this been something that has been building up and building up? And it's really only 13% of the population that is really causing the challenge for the rest of the 87% of us.
Yeah. The problem's been going on for a long time. And
not just 2 years?
Not just 2 years, not just 4 years.
Are the unions going to have to back off? Are they going to have to give up significant portions of their power in this situation? Pensions, as it were.
Wow. Well, it's already been challenged. There was a lawsuit that took place, so it's found to be constitutional. So moving forward, I think there's a couple of tiers now that exist within state employees. So moving forward, I think they're trying to address that issue, but you have those folks that are already retired that we're gonna continue to pay for those.
You know what, Alderman Villegas, the clock is ticked on us. First of all, I want to commend you for coming into the studio, sitting in the Lion's Den with Mayor and Charles. We appreciate you. We look forward to having you come back. Alderman, I'd like to have you come back a little bit more regularly so we can start having this dialogue, because I think there's some lessons that our community can learn from your community. You are tuned into the Talk Chicago 1698, and we have been talking to Latino Caucus Chairman Alderman Gilbert Villegas. When we come back,
this was very good.
Ralph Martier talking about the budget. Charles, how you say that? ITBA, Illinois Budget Tax Accountability.
Right.
They got a big old fancy name. I mix them all up. But I just know it's Ralph Martier. Yeah. And when he's on the news, I'm like, I got to pay attention.
Explain those letters, put them in the right order.
You are on the Talk Chicago 1690 at 7:30. We'll be back.
Live from the
Damn, G! Hey, y'all, let's just say, y'all got to give. Hey, man.
Okay, cool.
Look at Don Vito. Look at Lil Michael. Look at Michael. Lil Michael.
Okay.
Then, where's Hefe? Tell the Hefe I said what up.
Let me call you in 10 minutes.
Like, we gotta get up out of here.
Okay. Okay. Let me call you back in 10
Look
minutes.
at that. That's
Okay. Perfect.
look at Lil Mike, y'all. This was remember Michael Corleone didn't want to be part of the family business. Then he came in and took it over, right? So what you witnessing now is the last scene in The Godfather 2, right? This is the scene that, like, this election right here, this is the scene where they was at the christening, and at the christening while Michael was sitting there saying his vows, they was whacking body. They was killing everybody. You was like, dude got off the elevator. That dude getting his shave, cut his throat. Hey man, I'm telling y'all, there's a coup going on.
Mo Green.
Mo Green. You tell him I made him.
You saw what happened to Mo Green, man. He got shot in the
eyeball. Busted his glasses up.
Right.
Alderman Villegas, I'm gonna tell you what, man. That was a great interview. It was great to me. Great insight. You know, I think that most of our people we look at politics from an altruistic standpoint as compared to a competition for resources. And because it gets personal, like people take it, for us it's emotional. I think if we could get to the point where it's just resources and we talking about cutting up the resources, that's a good thing. The whole concept of even proposing 66%, right? Like, you heard me, is you crazy?
Yeah, no, but so when Fran Spielman asked me, she said, Aldrin, 66%. Don't you think that's a lot?
Isn't that something?
I go. Don't you think zero's too little?
And not only that, it's 66%. What about probably 70% of the city is black and Hispanic?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, so here they started zero.
What up, Ship?
We gotta start somewhere. So.
Excuse me.
Thank you very much.
¿De dónde en Puerto Rico es su familia?
Well, everybody's gonna know because the 3 dots crossed out.
Yeah,
But
Okay, I'm gonna do this. Hold on. Say what's up to the
which is like right next door.
Lions Den member. This is Payback. This is my ship.
what's going on,
What's up?
family?
You stopped in to bring me something real quick. Make sure you say what's up to Uncle Charles too.
I
Thank
will
you. I
indeed.
appreciate you.
No
man.
problem.
Go
Ma.
Manatee.
Yeah, man, I think.
Guys, this is Rob Ellis. Rob is a member of the Lions Den.
I'm like,
Right?
Oh, okay.
But it's all about the blue over here.
It's funny, I have an overall index when I worked at WLS. I just go through all
This
the
shit
fucking phone numbers and shit.
We need to get made up.
You know?
Hang around there?
Is that not funny or what?
Oh, okay.
I'm still on it.
Hey, Ship, I appreciate you, man.
Hey, no problem.
Tune in today, 12 o'clock, Headline News.
We'll be here.
All right.
I got it.
Alderman.
Are you on again today?
Yeah.
Oh,
They
really?
called me back. They were like, man, you did a great job. She was like, oh, wow. Because you know, they was trying to make me talk about
You
the
gotta let me
lottery.
know, man. We're gonna do
You
this.
know,
You
hey,
put that on Facebook?
You know that's how Roland Martin started.
Really?
It's on CNN.
I need hits. Give me more hits.
Yeah, man. Let folks know, man, when you're gonna be on. See, I missed it last time. I couldn't. Yeah, let me know, man.
Most people think it's fake news.
Gil, when we need to sit down and have a meal, bro.
Yeah.
Like real talk. And you know what? Me, you, and Joe need to sit down and have a meal.
Joe.
Proco.
Man, I tell you, boy, man, I tell you, man.
Hey man, you talking some revolutionary. Hey man,
But it's normal.
tell the Hefe we said what up too. Tell Hefe you tell him, cause we know.
I know they have. I know they
You
have.
know Hefe, boy.
I know Hefe.
Hefe be like, you ain't coming through it. Toll road of all roads lead to the Hefe. He'd be like, the toll road is up. Gil, thank you, Alderman. I appreciate you, man. And if there's anything you got going on and you want to let us know, if you want to share, whatever, let me know. But I like to make sure you come on at least once a quarter.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Good. Hey man, that was good stuff, bro.
Hefe took out Sherry, man. That was it.
Hey, I'm gonna give you the camera. I'll go to the bathroom real quick. Man. No, I can't go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, so what y'all think? What did y'all think about Alderman Villegas? I will tell you, I know that I am so not but he gets it, bro. They get the whole negotiations. They play the game. They are like, man, he said, give me 66. The white boy said 66. I can't do 66, but I give you 32. Well, guess what? Before it was 20. and we got 5 of the 20. Understand that, right? And it's like, the reason, I know y'all probably tired of me cheerleading, but the real talk is, that dude, that's the same mentality that he put down when he was dealing with, when he was at IDOT, bro, he came at it. Them road builders, all them, they be like, we gotta get rid of him.
And he's only been on the council 2 years. 2 years. All it takes, man, just some balls. You don't get nothing.
Have you all taken a moment to share the broadcast? What's up, YouTube? What up, Facebook? Take a moment, share the broadcast. Reach out, share the broadcast, tweet, Twitter. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thompson. Charles, you seem like you having a moment over there.
Yeah, man, but you know me and the blues. It gives me moments.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. Speaking of moments and blues, it looks like the state of Illinois is about to have a moment and be blues. And be singing the blues.
It is called the last of the blues states in the Midwest.
You know,
it's Illinois, and we got the blues, y'all.
We got the blues.
And don't accuse me of being a Republican.
You know what?
Do not accuse me of being a Republican, because I am not. I'm an independent. But we do got the blues, don't we?
I'm just here to tell you that our state is on the brink of collapse. We have not been able to pass a budget in the last 3 years, and now they are in overtime. To help us understand better what is going on, the repercussions, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ralph Martyr from the Illinois Budget and Tax Accountability Organization. Ralph, are you there?
I am here, but I was hoping you could explain to me what they're doing in Springfield, Maine.
Ralph, you're the expert. Tell us what is going on. It is maddening. There's not been a budget for 3 years. They're telling us that we go off the fiscal cliff tonight at midnight. The state turns into a pumpkin, and the top Republican resigns today. What the hell?
Yeah, so this is sort of uncharted waters, even for a state that's had this sort of historic dysfunction that Illinois has had, right, Nate? So let me just put some numbers out on the table so that your audience could understand the gravity of the situation we're in. Illinois has a general fund budget that spends roughly $31 billion or so every year, 32 since Governor Rauner's been in office. However, about $12 billion of those expenditures don't go to current services. They're hard costs for things like paying the debt, both to banks and what was borrowed from the pensions, and or giving like money to local governments through the law that allows the state of Illinois, or I should say requires the state of Illinois to share its income tax revenue with local government. So that $12 billion comes off the top. That only leaves about $20 billion that's being spent on current services. 9 out of $10 of those expenditures go to 4 things: education, healthcare, social services, and public safety. So that's where state government spends its money, those really important core services. As of now, Illinois has an accumulated deficit in that $21 billion or so expenditure amount for core services of $14.8 billion, or 2/3. 66% of what they are spending on current services is deficit spending.
tonight at midnight. What does that mean to the Illinois voter?
What it technically means is if they don't pass a full budget that has significant new tax revenue in it, the cuts to core services moving forward are going to be beyond the pale of anything that's acceptable. So, for instance, let's just start with higher education. Higher education has already been cut by 2/3 since the last time we had a budget under Governor Quinn in 2015. 2/3.
Wait, we haven't had a budget since 2015?
Since 2015. The last budget we had was under Governor Quinn. So we've had 0 budgets under Governor Rauner. And he's for his first two fiscal years. We're now entering his 3rd fiscal year. Our fiscal years start on July 1st in Illinois. So tomorrow, July 1st, is the first year of fiscal 2018. We've had no budgets for fiscal 2016 or 2017. When Governor Rauner came in office, the accumulated deficit the state had was $5.9 billion. Well, now it's more than doubled that on his watch.
But
and the
Ralph,
deficit has more than doubled. I gotta put one more thing on the table. While education, health, social services, and public safety have been cut by $6 billion. So we're cutting spending on services, and the deficit is more than doubling.
Now, Ralph, this is Charles Thomas. How are you doing?
Charles, just one perfect day in paradise after another. How about you?
Me too. Hey, look, isn't the bottom line here, though, that Illinois does not collect enough money every year from taxes and whatever else to support the state's spending? Isn't that the issue here? And the fact is,
that's always been the issue, right? And the lack of political will to deal with it.
Right.
And this is on Democrats and Republicans going back 30 years.
So what has to happen here? We got to raise more money, or we have to cut some spending. So what's your take on that? And how much money do we really need to raise here?
All right. So I would argue we really shouldn't be cutting more spending. I mean, we're at the point where we rank at or near the bottom in the nation in spending on all those 4 core categories of services.
So how much money do we need to raise a year?
Population. So let me get to that. So I mean, the cutting spending part, I think, really should be off the table because that's really poor public policy at this juncture.
Okay. So
how much do we need to raise? The answer is somewhere in the $7 to $7.5 billion range in new recurring revenue is needed so that in the next 2 to 3 years, the state could pay down its backlog of bills and get to a balanced budget. So there's no way you could do a balanced budget in 1 year.
So translate that 7 or 8 billion that you just estimated into tax increase that we really should be considering right now. This is your take.
Yeah, so, I mean, what we really need is to have our income tax rate probably go to about 5.25% at this point, and that'd bring in over $5 billion right there. And then we would probably need to expand our sales tax base, not the rate, but the base, the thing it applies to include consumer services only, the same ones that are taxed in neighboring Iowa and Wisconsin. And that generates $2 billion.
Like dry cleaning and stuff like that?
That's stuff like that.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, that's a significant tax increase, but you really, Charles, have to put it in context of the Illinois economy. We have a $777 billion state GDP. So this tax increase would take less than 1% of the total economic activity in Illinois. So while it's a lot of money, in context of our state's economy, it's actually so small it can't be measured by any peer-reviewed econometric model to determine whether or not it would even impact job growth or the economy. It's too small.
But Ralph,
so this is really what we need to do, and we need to be adult about it.
But Ralph, I mean, as an adult, how much more can the Illinois taxpayer take? I mean, you got the highest sales tax, the highest property tax, 13 different taxes, and we got to be adult. Why should I stay in Illinois if you're going to raise my taxes?
Well, I can't make an argument for you to stay in Illinois whether or not we raise taxes, Mays, because Illinois is a goofy place. But I can say this about tax policy. A lot of it is poorly understood. So when you look at Illinois' total tax burden as a percentage of income, that means every tax and every fee charged by any unit of state or local government in Illinois to support any service provided in Illinois as a percentage of our income, Illinois is actually one of the lowest taxing states in America. We dropped down to about 37th, 38th right now under current law, despite having the 5th largest population. So the discussion on pet tax policy is distorted. To your points, if you isolate out the property tax, Illinois has consistently been in the top 3 to 6 in America in total property tax reliance. The reason for that, of course, is the state's historic failure to fund public education adequately, pushing this obligation down to local property tax level. So I think when you put it all in context, you say, wait a minute, we've got one of the highest property taxes in America, but even including that tax, when you look at all in, the total taxes raised from us as people, as a percentage of our income, we rank near the bottom in the country. You can see very clearly the problem isn't overtaxing, it's improper taxing, improper over-reliance on the property tax itself, and the state's failure to raise adequate resources to invest in core services.
Ralph, I gotta stop you right there. We gotta go to traffic and weather. When we come back, we'll finish this conversation with Ralph Martier, Illinois Budget and Tax Accountability Organization. I still don't know whose fault this is, though. We'll be back.
More of the morning show.
You know what point I think somewhere in there, if you could work into your questioning, and maybe we'll take a call or two, but when you work into your questioning, you know how you always talk about, damn, now I just lost it. It's about the tax, like, you always talk about the tax, fuck. Oh, it was a good one too. But you, Ralph, the tax, how do we get here? The people who wrote the laws, right? The people who wrote the laws that got us here are, you know how you always talk about the people who wrote the laws that got us here. You got the cameras too, Chuck.
Okay, well, you know, I think at some point he's got to ask where, if we are undertaxed in everything but property tax, you can't tell me you can't tell me we are undertaxed when they're getting ready to drop the pop tax. When they got these other 10 to 15 taxes that we've been talking about, it's so many of them in the last 7 years, I can't even remember them all in one setting. Y'all know what I'm talking about. This guy is saying we are undertaxed, and they get ready to do the pop tax, cell phone tax, water tax, parking tax, all these taxes. He's going to tell me we're undertaxed. I'm sorry. I mean, I've been around. I've been to a few. I've been to a few different rodeos in different states. You know what I mean? I personally have lived in my lifetime in at least 4 or 5 states, and I know that the tax rate here, I pay more in taxes here than I paid in those other places. And can't tell me that people in Illinois are undertaxed. Now, if you want to include, now I think what he might be talking about, and I'm going to ask him about it, is it that the corporations in Illinois are somehow avoiding paying taxes?
Think about it.
I think that might be what we're talking about here, because I can't believe that we don't pay. We are undertaxed. I'm not buying that, Ralph. I know Ralph Martier for a long time. Interviewed him dozens of times, and he always comes up with this business of being undertaxed. But I pay taxes.
I ain't undertaxed.
No, I ain't undertaxed, and I've lived in some other places in my life. And if you travel to some of these other places and you sit in a restaurant or you go to the store in some of these other states, stuff is cheaper. Am I right or wrong? You go get some gas.
Right.
Why do we go to Indiana to buy our gas? Come on, the cigarettes, all these taxes that they put on people are higher in Illinois, Ralph. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. This ain't my first rodeo. I've been around the block.
So you should say that.
You know, and these are not, we are not undertaxed in this bad boy, man.
Right.
Ain't no way.
When you need someone, I will be by your side. There is a light. Charles, you gotta say that.
I am. Let's put me on there.
You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. Now, you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, July 15th, Lorraine Dixon Park. I think we're going to shut the street down. That's right, because we have got the taste of WVON. We expect you all to be out there. Now, in case you did not know, Charles and his cousins probably going to be singing backup because they got Elder Bars. So I think that y'all having like a cousins reunion. You know.
Oh, here we go.
But you know what? Let's get back to the. We have Ralph Martier. Because I'm gonna tell you, Ralph. You know you got Charles. Ralph, you done upset Uncle Charles.
Ralph, look, Ralph. You know we've talked many years, man. I've known you 20, 25 years, right? Man, you keep talking this undertaxed stuff. You can't tell me that I'm being undertaxed. I mean, I've lived in 4 or 5 different states in my years, and I'm telling you, like I visit Missouri every now and then, and man, in Missouri I can buy stuff cheaper than I can in Illinois. I don't care if it's gasoline, clothing, food, you name it. Look, we are not, there's no way in the world you can tell me we are undertaxed. I do not believe that. I cannot accept that. We are not, we are overtaxed.
Charles, you got to stop with the rhetoric and focus on the data, and I could even tell you where to look, because it's really this rhetorically charged discussion has stood in the way of Illinois designing a tax system that works in the modern economy, one that the textbooks, because there are textbooks on fiscal policy, say the state needs.
Ralph, I don't know what you're reading. I know what I'm paying. Now listen, is it a matter that the corporations are paying their share?
Guys, am I in this program so we could yell at each other, or can you let me finish? Because frankly, you guys are being as big a part of the problem right now as any politician that engages in demagoguery on this issue. So you either let me finish and get the facts out, or you could just keep yelling at your audience and giving them misinformation.
Okay, Ralph, go for it. So
all right.
Your state.
Missouri, as it turns out, Charles, happens to be lower taxed than Illinois. It is the only state in the Midwest that's lower taxed than Illinois at this point in time when you look at total state and local tax burden as a percentage of income. The only way Illinois is a high tax state is by focusing on the property tax alone. All in, we're low as a percentage of income. What that has meant is for generations, the state has borrowed against what it owed its public employee pension systems and used that borrowed money to pay for services. We are now in the middle of literally repaying that debt at a very high interest rate. And that's what's straining our fiscal resources, that combined with the lack of tax revenue. Each of the bond rating agencies, so you look at independent sources, Moody's, Fitch's, Standard & Poor's, since 2006 have been saying the state of Illinois undertaxes itself, and this is leading to severe fiscal problems in the long term. They need to raise taxes. And if we did raise taxes the right way, we could still keep our rates relatively low, our base relatively broad, but have the financial resources we need to invest in education, health, social services, and public safety to the level that we could actually satisfy demographically driven demand.
What happened to the
money?
money?
If you want to check on our data, by the way, don't rely on my organization, the Center for Tax and Budget Accountability, who, by the way, our numbers have been completely accurate over the last 15 years.
Okay.
But simply simply look at the Federation of Tax Administrators report. All they do is they take the actual audited financial reports of state and local governments, take the total amount raised in taxes and fees from all sources, divide that amount by total state income as reported by the BEA, and come up with what the tax burden
Ralph,
is. And that's where Illinois ranks low.
Can I say something, Ralph? And I'm going to say it very calmly. I don't want to shout.
Sure.
I just want to say, you've got your data. I've got my checkbook. And it suggests to me that I'm getting soaked by taxes in Illinois. That's all. I'm sorry, man. I love you, by the way.
And Ralph, I just have a question. So can you tell me how much of every dollar in the state of Illinois, when you add it all up, goes to, like if I was to take a dollar bill, how many cents in that dollar bill goes to pay some form of tax?
Right now, roughly 14.8 cents.
So 14. That's in that. Does that include the soda tax? Will that include?
No, because that's a new tax, so I haven't modeled that one in. You can't until they actually implement the tax. You don't have an idea for how that impacts people, but it's brand new, so that's not included in these figures. All I have are the data for the taxes and fees we already assessed. So your driver's license fees, you know, your parking fees, all that stuff, all in as a percentage of income.
So Ralph, and when we talk about this situation, so how do you reconcile, again, what my brother Charles is saying, where there is just this feeling, and I mean everywhere you go, whether it's the bag tax, whether it's the property tax, whether it's the poor closing schools, it seems like we pay more and more taxes to get less services. Where did the money go that we did collect?
Actually, you just put it exactly correctly, though, Mays. That's right. So because our primary taxes are poorly designed, the base of our sales tax, of the 45 states that have a sales tax, we tax less economic activity than any other state. Our income tax is designed by the Constitution, required to be designed in a manner that only has one rate that applies to all income levels. So when I said what you said is exactly right, what you see is local governments in particular, and sometimes the state government, throwing another little tax here, another little tax here, Band-Aid approach that try to get these smaller governments and or the state from one fiscal cycle to the next. It really does seem like piling on. And then I'm going to actually make a point that might get to Charles's point and support something he said when you look at our tax burden. So overall, Illinois is relatively low tax. We've, in the last 20 years, consistently been in the bottom 10. After the temporary tax increase, we went up to about 27th in the country. With the phase down, we're down to about 37th, 38th. So we're back to really low again.
So, Ralph...
But here's the trick, though, Charles.
30 seconds.
When you look at tax burden by percentage of income for taxpayers, we're one of the most regressive taxing states in America. So low and middle income families have very high tax burdens in Illinois, and affluent families have very low tax burdens.
But most people are low and middle income, so it just you seem to be contradicting everything you just said earlier about this being a low tax environment, when now you're saying that low and middle class families are getting the worst of it. And how does it? Are people running from ghosts when they leave Illinois? When all this out-migration?
Yeah, so the out-migration stuff is not at all related to tax policy. In fact, there's never been a peer-reviewed study done at any level that has found any statistically meaningful correlation between out-migration, in-migration, and tax policy. And just to give you a couple of quick examples...
you know what, Ralph, we got to cut you. Ralph, I got to go because... Ralph, I got to go. It's 7:59 on the Talk of Chicago. Ralph, we appreciate it. We'll have you back, but our time is up. We got to go. Up next, news, traffic, and weather, and then Uncle Luke will be back. Wait, I'm saying like, hey man, he checked you.
What did this guy?
Hey y'all, Uncle Charles got checked.
I ain't get checked.
He tried to check. He said, "Let me
get checked." Do any of y'all believe that what he just talking about? Then all of a sudden he says at the end, low and middle class people are getting soaked. But wait a minute. You can't have it all. I'm trying to be a gracious host and try to be respectful. But I mean, this guy, is talking some bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm off the air now, right? That's some bullshit. You talking about bullshit, man. They're gonna charge me a penny an ounce tomorrow on my diet pop.
Oh God!
Now
It's already happening on the machine here. They instituted it yesterday.
this dude is full of man. Get this. What? I mean, I check my checkbook. You check your data. I'm checking my checkbook. I had to pay property taxes, cash money. And I'm paying twice as much now as I was paying 10 years ago. Alright? Come on now. You talking about low? Come on. Come on, man. I'm trying to be nice, man, because I don't want, you know.
Jesus. Y'all.
No,
this is awesome.
That's some bullshit. That is some bullshit. Okay?
I'll tell you what, it's fun to listen to, though. It may have been bullshit, but it was fun to listen to.
This is bullshit. And couldn't shut his ass up. He wouldn't shut up. I'm talking over, and you won't stop. You won't stop talking. So I can at least. No, man. No, I mean, some meat the lion don't want. Some meat stink. Some meat I don't want. You know, the lion don't want that.
Oh my God, y'all! This is great.
So I just talked to Uncle Luke. He'll check back in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. So we're ready to go with that.
Is he doing the whole thing?
I will reconfirm with him when he calls back.
Okay.
All right.
Man, you had to turn him off, man. He was still talking while you were going to break.
Right,
Did you know that?
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
You couldn't shut him up. Talking bullshit too. Damn. Man.
Woo. Uncle Charles. So now you gotta put a disclaimer on the YouTube video. Put a thing that says this is
warning, rough language. Go directly to
warning.
Go to.
And look, and Charles said it wasn't Mace.
And Charles said it was bullshit.
I'm telling y'all. I'm telling you, people like I'm getting cursed out by my Uncle Charles.
Oh man.
That was fun.
He gave him the last did talking that bullshit. Lion didn't even. Lion don't want that, man. How we want to eat this?
You ain't got the
Lion
same.
gave him the lion did, man. That's what
It was like Ralph is straight bull. Bye. The Lions just. Damn, they said David slayed you.
I know, man. The lion don't want that. I said, man, what you eat that? You take that one, Maze. That's your boy.
That ain't none of my boy.
That's your boy, Maze. You brought him in here, man. Oh man. Oh man. They're gonna charge me $1.82 for one.
There's no problem with the taxes.
I'll pop tomorrow and I ain't taxed. I'm under tax. Man.
You're not promoting my DJ battle?
Oh, look here. Don't I have to give you a song?
Yes,
No,
sir.
not now. It's yoga time.
Huh?
It's yoga time.
My what?
It's yoga time.
I know, but do I have to give you one for the... Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be Chicago, right?
Yes, sir. And then today's the last day.
Huh?
Today's the last day.
Today's the last day, so
And
you can open up the playbook, man. So I got to open up the playbook. Oh, man.
Alright, it's fine. Yes. Now I'm going to be gone next week.
Give me. Are you going to be gone?
I'm on vacation. Oh. You guys want to be here Monday, so 24 days. Then I'll be back.
Give me the give me the Independence.
Which one?
Leaving Me.
Okay.
Started at the beginning though. Don't that other brother he didn't know how to play the song.
Yes, sir.
All right. Kellyanne trained Ralph how to sit and lie when the truth is staring you in the face. Get the fuck out of here. Oh man. Oh man. We supposed to be able to take a tax increase. Y'all got a lot of money. Y'all can get taxed. Y'all got a lot of money. I ain't getting taxed now. Enough. Kellyanne Conway.
This traffic report is brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance. If you have questions about youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance has answered. PCAA National Nonprofit Organization offers more than 1,000 free online resources to inform and inspire youth and high school coaches, parents,
Charles, you on camera?
athletes, and
Knuckle, please. Knuckle, please. That's right, man. That was one of them NP moments, man. Ain't nobody calling in, man.
Just because they busy listening.
Now we need to talk about that Lori Lightfoot situation. We got somebody on the phone?
Yeah, we can ready to do Luke.
Luke?
We could do we'll do Luke for 45 and then we could come.
Who's that?
We'll just do light for like in that last.
Okay.
All right. You read. Sipping yellow fish, got my black yoga pants on. Let's see Uncle Charles do it. There go Uncle Charles. There you go. Watch. Here he goes, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Uncle Charles. Damn, y'all. We gonna get him now. We gonna get him. Boom. Baby bend over. Baby bend over. Baby bend over. Let me see you do the yoga. Let your booty do the yoga. But the world on my shoulder never do what I supposed to. Bending, never breaking. I'm watching, I'ma show ya. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. Annette Flournoy in the newsroom. And Sonia Escobar. That's right, Sonia Escobar, our musical director, who is about to be on punishment. She is on punishment, Charles. She done took another vacation on us.
I know, man.
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu.
Y'all did that French stuff to me yesterday. I told you, I don't. You want to impress me? Speak some Swahili, speak some Yoruba. But y'all came in yesterday, hit me with the French.
Yep.
Now y'all know.
Je parle français.
Now I'm gonna tell you all, if you are not watching us live on Facebook and on YouTube, you are missing out. Cause I'm telling you, at 8 o'clock every day, y'all gotta see Uncle Charles. Under the table, man, he be doing the yoga. I see him doing this table dancing. He try to stay, look at it. See, you bouncing already, man. We gonna get Uncle Charles. But speaking of uncles, ladies and gentlemen, last year I went on the Tom Joyner Morning Show cruise and had the opportunity to go to a book signing session with this gentleman and really thought that it was important that we hear his story. You know, I thought of, when I used to hear the name Uncle Luke, I thought king of dirty rap. You know, hey, we want some. And I thought about all the videos and the booty shaking and the TNA. And I had reduced him to kind of almost like a hip-hop character. And then I had the opportunity to read Luther Campbell, The Book of Luke, My Fight for Truth, Justice, and Liberty. And you know, I did not realize Uncle Luke's contribution to free speech, redefining the music industry that created the model that Jay-Z, Cash Money, all of the independent labels, as well as then a social and community activist, right? I saw the ESPN specials and the stories, but I thought it was important after reading the book. And I'm gonna tell you, I was on the Tom Jordan Morning Show cruise. There was concerts galore, and I missed all the concerts because I was so caught up in the Book of Luke, My Fight for Truth and Justice and Liberty City. Ladies and gentlemen, join us in welcoming Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell, to the WVON Morning Show. Uncle Luke, are you there? Man, we are great. We are great. Uncle Luke, first of all, let me tell you how much of an honor it is to have you on the live line here in WVON. And, you know, I thought it was important that we talk a little bit about this book. So, Uncle Luke, the book's been out for a while, but talk to us about what motivated you to write this book.
Hey, man, you know, once again, you know, I just want to thank you all for having me on the show. You know, and, I mean, what motivated me for writing the book was because I never really got any respect in the music industry. A lot of people, just like some of the things that you said and some of the misconceptions of me, my being an artist pretty much overshadowed me as being an executive, a father, you know, and a man of my community, you know, and so I thought it was very, very important to write the book so people can really know who I am, and people out there who probably have this misconception of me, you know, get to know me a little better, you know, and, you know, because the book did so good, you know, now, you know, Lionsgate is going to do a movie based on the book, so I'm just so happy about the book as well as everything else.
So all the booty shaking and everything in those videos back in the day, that was all a fake. That really wasn't you.
No. It was a party. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. Mm-hmm. You know, we leave from work on a Friday, we go to happy hour, we go have a good time.
Man, I never had that good a time.
yeah. I mean, you know, some folks go party a little harder than other folks, but you know, that's just America, and that's just what we do. Whether we were back in Africa or whether in the United States of America, there's a time that we go in as adults and we go have fun. You know, after a hard work week, and that's what we do. So I mean, it was never a fake or anything, but then there's a time to be socially conscious, and there's a time to be a father and a responsible businessman, and I think I did all those things in a nutshell.
But a lot of young people may have wanted to emulate the lifestyle that was in those videos. Do you regret any of that at this point?
Well, when you look at the videos, not necessarily. I mean, because when you look at my videos and you look at the videos of the day, right now I think I was a little ahead of my time. When I did a video or I did an album cover, I looked at what society had already had to offer. For instance, I looked at Dallas Cowboys, you know, and I talk about it in my book. You know, I say, okay, if I want to do a video, I want to do it looking like the Dallas Cowboys, the girls in Daisy Dukes and hot pants. If that's acceptable in society, then I will, you know, put that on a video and be something different than what guys were doing breakdancing in New York and the sticker on the wall. Once we got to Miami Beach, Miami, Florida, and we have beaches, sands, and fun. So the marriage of Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and African American women in Daisy Dukes on a beach, I didn't think that was appalling. I think the rest of the world who does not have beaches in their cities probably looked at that, and at that time, African American
Uncle Luke,
frequently they were looking at it like, wow, what is he doing? Girls in bikinis? This is crazy. But that's what we live in here in South Florida.
And Uncle Luke, we're gonna come back to that, but I want you know, taking a deep dive into the book. Talk to me about your Bahamian roots and the Bahamian work ethic that you developed in in South Miami, and how that played into you becoming a mogul.
Well, the thing is with me, that played major in me. I mean, you know, my mom Bahamian, my dad Jamaican, and one thing about island people, we work hard, and the kids work hard. The kids work harder than the parents, and you know, there's a lot of politics conversation going on in the household, and with the hard work that we put in, you know, me and my dad, mom, and the family, you know, there's these discussions on the weekend that you have about disenfranchisement of African American men, whether you're Bahamian, Jamaican, or whatever it may be, you know, and you hear those conversations, and so throughout the years, like I speak about my Uncle Ricky in the book, throughout the years, him and my dad, I would hear these conversations because they want to be better than what they were. They want to have these businesses that paint and he was facing all the same things that average company face right now today. You know, being judged by the color of his skin, not getting those contracts that he needs to get. So I heard all those stories as a kid, you know, and they made us turn off the comedy shows, you know, to focus on white life at the office and things that they were going through.
Uncle Luke, you know, we got to go to break, but when we come back, I want to talk about a lot of the violence and the racism that you saw in South Miami, and then when you were chosen as a football player, how you used that exposure to move on to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Talk of Chicago on the live line. Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell. Some people think of him as the king of dirty rap. But boy, you read the book and you find out he was a champion of the Second Amendment. We'll talk about that and much more when we come back. Not saying
more of the morning show.
Bang bang.
Right,
that would be Biggie then. All the guns and stuff,
did
right?
you say Biggie, man?
Well,
Uncle Luke didn't shoot nobody. Uncle Luke,
he didn't shoot nobody.
He had beautiful.
Luke would get him, but he wouldn't shoot.
he might have shot him too.
Yeah. First and Second Amendment. I don't know about all this, man. I don't know about all this. Uncle Luke, I used to see them videos, you know. Used to take kids and say, "Hey, son, you don't need to be looking at that." You know, but yeah. Yeah, I said, man, I had to have family meetings on them videos.
We gonna have that conversation
family
too.
meetings, you know. But you know, you have to say, "Hey, Luke, don't be looking at that boy."
Hey, son, can you pass? Give me that here. I'm confiscating everything.
Give me that tape. Give me that tape. I got that. That's mine now. You know. Billy Smalls, and they was in the Second Amendment. See, this guy was the First Amendment. Luke. Now, Luke made news back in the day, that's for sure, man. Didn't they ban him or something like that? Or they wanted to arrest him? But you know, a lot of the stuff he was doing back in them days, man, that stuff is like routine now. What?
Right, it's cupcake stuff now.
It's cupcake now, man. They would say, man, that's boring. That's something, isn't it? Man. But that shows that we down that road. Down that road.
Man, I want to talk about the University of Miami, the players, him giving the money to him, racial hotbed of racial.
I didn't get a chance to read the book or even try, man. I'm going to get it.
Right, you was reading Plato.
Huh?
You was reading Plato.
Yeah,
Socrates.
I was actually reading some
the Grant's last letters. City
Theodore Roosevelt,
racial
man.
Discrimination.
That I got for the holiday, man, and I started reading it. Theodore Roosevelt, man, you know, he's a lot like Donald Trump. Yeah, they say you need to clean that blooper up, man.
I will.
Second and first.
I will.
He clean it up. He got that.
Boy, the Lions be waiting to pounce, don't they?
But that's good, though, man. You got to have people checking you all the time, man. I appreciate them. Some of the best moments in this program have come from the Lions Den. You know
I mean, my sex cool. That's why I'm all up in your grill, trying to get you to a hotel. Must be his football coach. Swear you got me swaying the field. So give me that beep beep, running my hands through my froze, boxing on 24s. I'm still setting. I'm ready.
Kelly here, right?
Huh?
Who's doing that song?
R. Kelly.
Right. How come they ain't playing Luke?
Black Music Month. Okay.
Huh?
Black Music Month.
Oh, that's right.
Chicago. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio, as well as on the live line. We are talking to Luther Campbell, that's right, Uncle Luke, about his book, The Book of Luke, which is My Fight for Truth, Justice, and Liberty City. Now, Uncle Luke just told us that this book will eventually, Lionsgate is going to make it a movie. You know, Uncle Luke, as we talk about the book, one of the things that I read was how you grew up in Liberty City and how there was a tremendous amount of racial tension and discrimination and poverty, but some kind of way you connected to football. And football has been a tool for you throughout the rest of your life. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, it's like a rite of passage. You know, everybody plays. Every young man, I don't care what color you are, you play football. You know, and down here, you know, growing up as a kid, you know, I was somewhat of a good football player, and I ended up, you know, getting bused at Miami Beach to South Beach, where actually I learned a lot about the history of South Florida. But it was, you know, and you know, I played football. You know, got offers for to go to play, you know, college football, but then, you know, at some point in my life when all my other brothers was in college, I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I basically want to get me a job and you know, pursue this DJing career, because I wanted to be more of a DJ on the radio than being a actual performer.
But Luke, talk to me about then, but that relationship with football and being a DJ got you involved with the University of Miami football team. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, back then, University of Miami football team, you know, my brothers used to take me to the games, and nobody would be at the games. You know, nobody show up to the games, and so, you know, as my career, you know, got a little bigger, you know, guys, University of Miami kind of changed their ways, because Coral Gables is much more of a affluent, rich area, and at that time when I was growing up, they didn't have too many African Americans going to school there. But then what they ended up doing under Howard Snellenberger, they kind of changed their ways and started recruiting African Americans from Liberty City and South Florida and all over the place, because all those kids were going to historical black colleges like FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, and at that time FAMU was winning like every national championship in black college it was. So they basically started taking those kids that would normally go to FAMU and take them to the University of Miami, and it was a big culture change for a lot of those kids. And how I got involved with University of Miami, you know, I would see kids go down there and they would just tear up the place, go to jail for robbery, robbing other students, fighting them, and then I just took it upon myself to just say, hey, look, let me go down there and start talking to these guys and let them understand the opportunity that they have of getting an education, not necessarily getting to the NFL, but just getting an education. So that's how I ended up getting involved in University of Miami football.
But Luke, you wound up being portrayed as a villain. Or somebody who was a negative influence on the team. But when you read the book, you had some really interesting perspective on those players. Can you share that with our listeners?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, you know, the thing is, when you look at most of those guys, especially back then, they couldn't get a job because that was against NCAA rules and regulations. But then at the same time, half of those kids had kids at home. you know, they were having kids in high school and they needed to send money back, or most of those kids were living in disadvantaged situations. I remember one kid that I talked about, Lamar Thomas, you know, which is a good friend of mine to this day right now. He's a coach at University of Kentucky. You know, his mom was getting put out of her house, you know, and he was like, man, my mom getting put out of the house, I'm going to have to stop going to school, and I'm going to have to go back home in Gainesville and get a job in order to save our house. I was like, nah, son, you stay there. Then what I'll do is I'll help, you know, in whatever capacity I can to help your mom keep her house. You know, and things like that. So when guys like Dan Le Batard, who you see on ESPN, who I'm still to this day a good friend with, he was a beat writer for University of Miami, Miami Herald at the time. They would see me on the sideline, and then with all the controversy of Luke and the Two Live Crew, they would see me down there and they would see me around these guys, but they didn't really know what it was. So then they took it upon themselves, you know, to write articles. Why is he down there? Why is he hanging out with the kids? Why is he, you know, why are they so friendly with him? You know, and before you know it, they would write these articles that they had no idea as to what was going on to make themselves famous. And at the end of the day, they found that everything was all wrong when the kids really explained to them what was happening.
Uncle Luke, so talk to me. So you got University of Miami. Football has been a consistent theme through your life. Talk to me about how you've used that as an organizing tool in the community.
Man, I mean, knowing that kids love football, you know, and I mean, this year it'll be 28 years that I started my youth program. A lot of people think Snoop Dogg and other guys, when they see football, they're like, oh yeah, they got a football league and all that. No, what I did was, you know, my first check, I bought my mom a house. My second check, I started my youth football program. It's not just football, but youth program called Liberty City Optimists.
Now, were you doing this while you was Uncle Luke, Two Live?
Oh, no doubt about it. Every day, that's what I would go back to. I would go home and I would go back to the park.
So wait a minute. Uncle Luke, you trying to tell me you was booted? You had the videos going, and then you would leave the video shoot and go work with the kids? Were you concerned about the conflict?
Let me tell you my day. This was my day. My day would be, I never really was able to tour, because when you tour, you tour every day of the week. So I would go on the weekends. I would go on the weekends, do concerts on the weekends, just one dates, one-offs. And then I would come back on Monday, open up my office with my 36 employees, distribution company, warehouses, and all these things, run my company, you know, and I would go from there, running the company on a daily basis from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Go in the studio at 1 a.m. in the morning, but then after work, I would go out to the park and run my youth program. So I think that's what everybody does. You know, I think that, you know, most volunteers right now, they'll go to work, whether they're a garbage man or a school teacher, and then after work, then they'll go volunteer some hours at the park, whether it's a gym or whatever it may be, and then they'll go home, eat dinner with the family, and get ready for the next day. And that, I was no different. You know, but I thought it was important because when I was a kid growing up and I had to go to Miami Beach, being bussed over there, I would get home at 11 o'clock at night. And my teachers, because I played football on Miami Beach, would just pass me along. You know, and I was coming home entirely too late. So I always wanted to start a football program, a sports program in my community. And you know, and right now it's bigger and better than it has ever been. We have soccer, we got a STEM program, we got a brand new gymnasium that's just been put up this year. We have a brand new baseball field. Major League Baseball is getting ready to redo our baseball facility, and they'll, you know, unveil it for the All-Star Weekend here on July 8th. And you know, I'm more excited about my program than I'm excited about my movie, to be honest with you.
You know what? It's great to see the evolution. That's what we enjoy talking. Uncle Luke, when we come back, you as the king of dirty rap ran into some trouble took you all the way to the Supreme Court, and I said mistakenly last time the Second Amendment, but it took you to be one of the champions of the First Amendment. We'll talk about that when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Uncle Luke on the Talk of Chicago.
Live from the WVON newsroom.
Uncle Charles, we got to ask about Uncle Charles' family meeting.
I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. While the rest of the country is gearing up for a long holiday weekend, the Illinois budget crisis is coming up on a critical deadline. If there is no deal by midnight, there will be serious consequences for Illinois. There will be no money for road work across the state, and road construction would stop. Funding woes for Chicago public schools will get worse, and lottery players would have to say bye-bye to the Powerball and Mega Millions game. Now, Mays and Charles spoke exclusively this morning with Ralph Mateer, Executive Director of the Center for Tax and Budget Accountability, a bipartisan nonprofit research group.
What it technically means is if they don't pass a full budget that has significant new tax revenue in it, the cuts to core services moving forward are going to be beyond the pale of anything that's acceptable.
Illinois has not had a balanced budget since 2015, and in the middle of the state's unprecedented financial crisis, Illinois Senate Republican leader Christine Radonia resigns after a 20-year career.
Senate Republican leader Christine Radonia says she is stepping down as of Saturday, and she says compromise is the way to bring about the changes Governor Raumer wants.
We need fundamental change in this building, but we need to compromise in order to get there.
The key to a deal is those non-budgetary reforms that Raumer demands. House Speaker Michael Madigan says the Democrat versions of those reforms are a compromise by him.
I think I've moved considerably to engage on all of these issues, and I will continue to engage in all of these issues.
Raumer's vowed to keep the special session going if the deadline isn't met. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
And unless a judge grants the Illinois Retail Merchants Association a temporary halt, Cook County's soda pop tax is set to go into effect tomorrow. Retailers filed a lawsuit this week saying the tax is too vague. In an exclusive interview with WVON's Perry Small yesterday, Tanya Trish Dowwood of the IRMA says the tax puts retailers at risk for a lawsuit.
Not only are we concerned about losing customers, but we're concerned about
Uncle Luke pretty cool.
We are over collecting sales tax or
collecting
sales tax or incorrectly charging sales tax to SNAP customers.
Pick up the book. Pick up the book. Charles be reading Socrates. For us simple-minded folks, I'm just telling you, it's a big, good, easy read. Check it out. Yeah. I got one at home. You can have this one. You can have it. I bought one. I bought it on the boat. Like, I literally bought the book on after hearing them talk. I was like, I gotta get it. How y'all doing out there? Thank you all for tuning in. What y'all know about Uncle Luke, man? He sure did sign you mine.
This sports report is brought to you by Foundation for a Better Life. Deaf and blind Helen Keller overcame her world of darkness. Foresight, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life and values.
Boy, I swear to God. Oh, yeah, Mark Wallace did. I'm going to ask him. Mark Wallace said Luke worked for him at the skate rink. He sure did, Robert. I'm going to ask. What's your song? What's your song, Charles? What's your song? We're coming back with your song.
It's the Independents. It's the Independents.
Why you be picking up these groups, man? Who in the hell is the Independents?
The Chicago group, man.
Who in the hell is
It's from the back in the day. It's from back in the day. It's the Independents.
Don't nobody know
from the West Side.
From the West Side.
The West Side. I think they're from the West Side. Yeah, they from the West Side.
The Independents.
Independence, man. You ever heard of Independence?
Never heard of Independence. Hey y'all, I'm glad Uncle Luke did come back to us though. That's cool. Ooh.
It's the Independence.
Maisie Harris, I'm gonna say that.
You heard the Independence, man?
See,
Back
I
in
would
the day,
say that,
man. This was back in my era.
Huh?
Back when I was going to the set.
When you was going to the
when
set.
I was going to the set. To
Did
the
you
blue
have?
light
Did
party.
you shine your shoes?
I
The
was
blue
going to
light
the blue
party.
light party, man.
Ooh.
You know. Hey man, we had parties back in the day. We didn't have no yacht with no big booty girls and bikinis. But you know,
You probably did.
We didn't have
Depending
all
on
that,
what
man.
island you was at.
Man, we didn't get no back in the day. Man, it was tough, man.
Look, you talking for the cameras.
Man, it was tough, man. It was tough, boy. We didn't get none, man. We talked about
You know, I think Uncle Luke, man, he employed a lot of people, man. You think that brother had one of the largest?
Yeah, the Independents may have grown up on the Independent. Yeah. See that? That's
Too bad
Chicago.
y'all can't hear Charles' stuff because
That's Chicago. That's the Chicago
that
sound.
is a great question, Dennis. Why are so many West Indians successful? All right, y'all, we back.
Y'all never heard that song, man?
Go ahead.
You never heard that? Chuck Jackson was in that group. Chuck Jackson, I can't remember the other people. They had a woman in it too. One hit wonder.
You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. I got Uncle Charles. You know, as we do every day at the 8:30 break, Uncle Charles pulls out one of these dusty one-hit wonder records.
Oh, man,
you know, we got
Chicago,
Uncle Luke.
Man, that's the West Side.
So,
That's
Charles,
the
who
West
is
Side.
your
That's
Charles'
the
choice?
Independence. I don't know. It was the early 70s.
Charles, where you get all this music,
I know
man?
that music, man. That's Chicago back in the
Now,
day.
you know, I know Chicago. I be talking
you
that
from Bolingbrook.
Kanye.
You don't
Hey,
know
man,
nothing about
Bolingbrook. Bruh. Look, first of all, I represent the Kanyeezys, the crucial conflicts, the do or dies. But speaking of music, Charles, we have on the live line
The legendary.
whoa. Uncle Luke, now you got to understand.
Legendary,
This brother, we done had fights with MC Light about her status. He gave you the ultimate
I
props.
be legendary, brother. He definitely changed a lot about music and the whole video industry. Definitely. I mean, this brother was at the watershed moment of a lot of stuff. In fact, you even mentioned that stuff he was doing in the late 80s, early 90s is now tame compared to what you see on the air today.
Right, but think about this. When Uncle Luke started, the things that we think of as normal were not. Uncle Luke, talk to us about how being the king of dirty rap at that time got you in front of the Supreme Court.
I mean, that was a very, very interesting time. I mean, just like I say, growing up with my uncle and my dad, and like I say, you know, the things that the struggles that they were going through as older men, you know, and passed on to me and my uncle. And I talk about it in the book where I say, you know, he always would tell me, hey man, look, they gonna put invisible chains on y'all. They put chains on us, but it's gonna be different for you guys when you all get of age and it's time for you to be responsible and raise your family. And I never really understood that until, you know, when I got about 25 and I, you know, got into that 2 Live thing and started, you know, running my own record company. And before you know it, I'm sitting and my records are deemed obscene, and I'm going to courts, and I'm ended up in the Supreme Court, you know, and I'm sitting there saying, you know, I can stop this fight at any given time. I didn't have to fight for free speech, but what I was fighting for more than anything, because I looked at what was going on in the world. I was looking at Andrew Dice Clay. I was looking at the comedians. I was looking at Leroy Skillet, Red Fox, Aunt Esther, Millie Jackson, and the things that they were saying on records were no different. But the difference was that I was a black man that owned and operated my own record company. No subsidiary, no affiliation with anybody. I was selling these records out of the trunk of my car, and from the trunk of my car, I was selling them out of my warehouse.
Break that down for me real quick, because you know what, we're going to get back to the Second Amendment. But at your peak, Uncle Luke, oh, excuse me, First Amendment. Sorry, First Amendment. Uncle Luke, break down at your peak how big your record label was.
I mean, it was major, because every time my record label was bigger than Two Live Crew. It was bigger than me, you know, and I wanted to be like that because, again, I got into the group just to make the group different. But then I was the executive every day. I had H-Town, you know, H-Town, they sold platinum records on my label. I had Poison Clan, they sold gold records on my label. I discovered Pitbull. Pitbull, I mean, probably one of the world's largest artists. I signed a group out of Chicago named You Mine. You know, they did fairly well. You know, I mean,
Luke, but talk to me about the numbers. Talk to me about how many millions records, how much money were you making?
Man, we were out of my warehouse, we were selling millions of records. I mean, Yellow Freight, Roadaway, you name it, every truck company in the country would be pulling up in there. I mean, I was doing easily $10 million a year with my record company.
How many black people were you employing at the time?
At that time, we were around the country. We had about 36, and at home we probably had about 40 black folks. So around 70 people. And not including the road managers and the artists and all those different things like that. I mean, it was a big machine because back then, unfortunately, you know, it's not like it is now. You had to actually have a staff of people calling all the radio stations around the country before the regulation happened, and then you had to have a staff of people to call all the record stores back then. Right now, everything's on iTunes, so it's totally different now. You don't have to call a record store and have individuals responsible for each region, and then you got to have an international staff that has to then do your international.
You trying to say a black man? How old were you at this time?
Man, I was like probably 27, 28.
27 years old, building and running an international operation, selling millions of records, and you find yourself in front of the Supreme Court. How does that work?
And let me tell you, that was amazing. It was amazing. It was a build-up. It was a build-up from, you know, Tipper Gore and her group, focused on the family, you know, them going after us. A lot of people at that time, even us, didn't understand, hey, man, what are these guys doing? Why are they doing it? So, I had backlash from, you know, C. Dolores Tuckers and pastors and everything around the country. So, it was a constant build-up, but the attack came from mostly the white side, you know, because the music was getting into, you know, white kids' houses. You know, they were listening to the music at that time, and that's when I took it upon myself to be responsible and put a sticker on the label, on the record. So
wait. You put the sticker on voluntarily?
Yeah, I created that sticker you see, because the intention was never to have kids listen to the music, listen to the adult version, and then I'm the one who created doing two different versions of a record. You know, if you had an adult version, do a clean version for the radio and for kids to be able to purchase. So when I created the sticker, I wanted, you know, again, with this big staff of people calling retail, they would call the retail stores like George over there on the south
George's
side,
Music
and
Room.
say, look, sell the kids, you know, the clean version of the song that they hear on the radio, and, you know, for the adults, sell them the adult version.
So, Luke, you know, people would have it, because, you know, I've got some of our people that say that you contributed to the demise of the black community. But it seems like you were actually taking into consideration our young people. Well, how do you respond to that?
Well, you know, like I say, I respond to it when people say, oh, demean women, you know, demise, all these different creative words of what, you know, what comes with it. You know, I look at it and I say, I live in a free country and we have free speech. So, with that, what does that entail? Then I look at what society has to offer, and those were the same my cases, if I had 2 cases in court, when my records was deemed obscene, I could have left that case on the books. Then that means any other rap record or any other record coming after my record, if they had any cuss words and any profanity in it, they would have been able to be taken off the shelf. I fought that because I felt like African Americans were not given the same rights that white Americans was, because white Americans were saying the same thing and saying much worse. So when they talk about the demise and all that, I look at it like this. I say, well, everybody loved it Millie Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loved it Leroy Skillet. Everybody loved it Red Fox. Everybody loved it Dolomite. These were people that were before me. So all of a sudden, now I'm the one who is attributing to the destruction of the African American community, talking about having a good time and having a party. Things that people normally say on a daily basis anyway, but at a certain time. But I still felt like I still was responsible, because only adults need to be listening to this, just like adults would be listening to Millie Jackson. Adults would listen to the dirty version of Red Fox and Aunt Esther and all them. It didn't do nothing wrong to our parents. Our parents raised us real good, even when they had a drink on Friday and Saturday night, listening to the comedy albums.
Luke, when we come back, we only got a little bit of time left, so I want to talk to you. I want to just ask you about the state of hip hop and rap now. And where do you think it is? And then we'll just talk about Jay-Z and, how you shaped the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. It's 8:47.
More of the morning show.
I think that's pretty significant. I think that if he voluntarily made the sticker, that's kind of crazy, because everybody else said, screw C. Dolores Tucker, screw. So, Charles, talk to me about that.
Well,
Real talk. I
think this is something that, you find very important, and I respect that,
I know you don't care.
No, man, I care, but I take a somewhat different view of it. It's not as profound
to you
a moment in my life that it is to you and people in your generation, but it's not to me, to be honest with you. I really wasn't down with C. Dolores Tucker when she was doing what she was doing. I just wasn't. I saw the music. I thought that the corporate, that was about the same time that corporations were taking over, like MTV and such. And MTV was providing a platform for Uncle Luke. He was selling them out the back of his car, but the videos were ending up on MTV.
No, the videos actually ended up on Video Jukebox.
Whatever, but they were on corporate-owned television, and that's where most parents saw them. So this music, this art, this genre of hip hop wasn't just sold out of the back of a car, and everybody could see what it was about when they saw the videos. And I think that's where a lot of parents got involved. They wouldn't have even known it existed. And even though it was somewhat cleaned up, it was obviously not the X-rated version that was on MTV, but parents got it. They knew what was going on. And that's where it became, I think, attention was drawn to it by the general society. And that's when C. Dolores Tucker and all those people began to react. I wasn't worried about it because I was parenting. I had a 2-parent household, and we knew what the kids were watching. Now I could assume if you were a single parent or you weren't always monitoring what was going on, and your kid was being exposed to a lot of this stuff, and they were like doing it or trying to do it or trying to be it, that would be another problem. But I think corporate America latched on to Luke. They made money off Uncle Luke.
They did.
They made big money off
Uncle Luke. And they bankrupted him.
They made big money off this guy while at the same time they were trying to tear him down, and made money in the process of trying to tear him down. You know, what can you say? But other than that, I mean, it's not necessarily a profound moment in to me personally. That's why I might seem a little quiet in the conversation, because I don't want to ask questions and look stupid.
Ladies and you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. You are listening to the Talk of Chicago. It's your man, Maze Jackson, Charles Thomas. In the studio, we have Uncle Luke. That's right, Uncle Luke on the live line. Uncle Luke. So, you know, you probably were at the forefront of really this freedom of speech issue. And I think rappers nowadays can pretty much do and say anything and get away with it. Talk to me about your thoughts on the state of hip hop now.
Man, you know, it's amazing. When I look at things like, it's pretty much no different than what was going on back in the who are socially conscious, you know, and then you have artists like Chance the Rapper who are doing things in the communities, you know, and back in our days we had more guys doing more things for our community than you have today with hip-hop artists today. I mean, you had Ice Cube and guys like that doing things in their community, and Snoop Dogg doing things in his community, you know, and KRS-One, guys like that doing things in their community. We were more community-oriented and giving back than the guys right now today. But, you know, that's why when I look at, I'm sitting up to looking at BET Award and looking at this guy, you know, from Chicago and the things that he's doing, the donations that he's made. I look at him and I look at it from the standpoint of you know, that's how I looked at that, and that was my thought process, you know, and going back to Miami, you know, just like, you know, people, you know, say, you know, they get a little uptight when I say, you know, guys need to go back to their hometown. I'll say DJ Khaled need to go back to his hometown. Where is that? Because it's not from here.
Is his hometown in Saudi Arabia? Where is it?
Exactly. You know, it's from New Orleans. So I think it's important. You know, Chance the Rapper got plenty of money. He could move to Miami right now and then claim Miami as his hometown. But the problem with that would be because Chance is from Chicago, he knows the struggles of the average Chicago kid and the things that they have to go through. So he would be more beneficial living in Chicago, doing for Chicago, and that's why I'm so proud of that young man and the things that he's doing. You know, and I just hope other rappers would move out of Miami and go back to their hometown and do things in their hometown.
I heard that. Uncle Luke, last question. You ran for mayor. I mean, seriously? What made you think that after being the king of dirty rap, after, hey, we want some, that you could actually run for mayor? And how's that worked out for you long term?
Man, it worked out great. I mean, because you know, it worked out great. I look at it like this. You got a lot of these young people that got these Obama cards. You know, a lot of people got excited to go vote for a black president, and it was a lot of young people that pushed them over the top, which is the same, you know, people in the rural areas that push Trump over the top, people who don't normally vote. And so these young people got these voters registration cards, and right now that Obama is gone, they don't know what to do with it. And so when I ran, I pretty much got 30% of the vote. You know, I was tied for second place, and I almost won. I was like, oh man, I'm here to make a point, to be a part of the exercise of voting, especially on the community side of it all, because in the community, those are where things that affect you. You go out and vote for the school board member or the mayor or the police chief or whatever it may be locally, and that stops a lot of the problems that you have, you know, in the community. And so from that point of me getting this voters base, you know, what I did was I took it and I said, you know, now I got this 30% of black, white, young, you know, people voting for me. I'm an influence. If you want to be the mayor of Miami, you got to talk to me. If you want to be a school board member, you got to talk to me, because I got a voting block that is very, very loyal, and that voting block will go out and vote. You know, so nowadays, you know, the regular candidate can't get elected without coming to see young people in Miami, and I urge everybody around the country, you know, the Chance, the rappers, the other guys like that, to get involved in the political process and get these young people who have these cards and mobilize them, because right now I have under the youngest city of Miami commissioner, you know, who I supported, who I endorsed. You know, normally these guys wouldn't take an endorsement from me. He won. He's now the chair of City of Miami. You know, we got another young man who's a school board member. He beat out another older guy. You know, the mayor of Dade County, he had to come and get my endorsement, because if he didn't, then if I endorsed his opponent, they would have won. So these are things that, because of that election, that's the outcome of it all, and I knew that would be the outcome.
Uncle Luke, last question. Here in Illinois, I got two questions. Here in Illinois, our politicians seem to be more aligned with the Democratic Party values, as our communities still continue to be to go down. How do you suggest we use our power to convince black Democrats to support black issues?
The thing is, I mean, and it's around the country, and I've traveled around the country, and I hear the same thing. Majority, and you know, I'm sorry to say it, but majority of our African American politicians are bought off and paid off. You know, and why they're bought off? So people say, well, why do you say that? They're bought off, because the traditional values of the Democratic Party and the Democratic elected official, what they'll do is they'll take, you know, their contractors. You see, why we don't have jobs? Why we not getting these? Why we got bad education? You know, why are we not getting the same things that, you know, the folks at the water tower is getting? You know, why we're not getting these different things? Well, what ends up happening is because those contractors put money into our African American politicians' campaign. Once they put the money into the campaign, it's no different than the street game. They didn't control that African American politician. He becomes a puppet for the contractor and for those special interest groups that put money into their campaign. We traditionally, as black people, don't necessarily play the game of politics and owning our own politicians. So I took a different approach. I didn't took the young people, as well as my base, the people who grew up with me and know the work that I do in the community. And I say, hey, look, we got to overcome that, because the traditional black politician, they'll go to the old folks' home with the old people, and they're great people, and they'll go buy them, a couple of lunches and take them out on some bus rides. And before you know it, they'll get them to sign they'll get them to vote for them on their absentee ballot. And the young people don't vote. So when you think they're encouraging young people to vote, they're not necessarily doing that, because if young people and people like us of our age go out and get a part of the political process, we supersede those votes that they pay for.
I gotta stop you right there, Uncle Luke. I would have loved to ask you what's in it for the black people for Uncle Luke. So the next time, you gotta promise to come back, and when you're in Chicago, you gotta tell us you will come in the studio.
Hey man, I'll be in Chicago on November 18th at the Crown, so I'm gonna come holler at y'all.
All right, we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Luke, we out of here. And if you don't like it, May say it. I know, Uncle Charles, that wasn't profound to you. That was deep to me.
Well, I mean, cool, man. I'm down with that.
I'm happy to see. No, but you know what? Like when he,
I'm down with that.
I'm just glad to see his level.
The world don't revolve around me, man. One thing I am not is learning my age, man. That everybody got their own thing, man, because there's a whole bunch of shit happening before me and happening after me. You know what I'm saying?
Ladies and gentlemen.
And the world goes on.
Ladies and gentlemen. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Uncle Charles.
All right there.
Who that girl with them Daisy Dukes up? Hey, y'all, Perry got on that Daisy Dukes. I want you to look at that girl with them Daisy Dukes up. Everybody.
Don't forget your cup.
I will not.
How you doing, Charles?
I'm good. How you
Charlie T, where you going?
Huh?
Are you breaking out?
Me?
Out of town.
You know, I might, man. I might do a drive thing.
Where are you thinking about driving to? Like,
you know, just drive
Wisconsin?
And, you know, talk to my baby in the car, man. Just drive somewhere and
I really want
drive to Cleveland. What the hell? I don't know.
Cleveland?
I don't know, man. I'll
Yeah,
drive
man,
somewhere.
Cleveland?
Get out of town.
Did you say drive? I feel like I need to get out of town. I need to get my wife, bundle her up, and we need to
I have that kind of life, man. I can just go.
blow
Ain't
the
got no
pops.
kids,
Isn't that the
man.
coolest thing?
I might put the dog in the car. Let the dog come with us.
And the dog, not the dog. Dog, get your.
Dog, man.
Are you a? Is it a people dog?
Oh, without a doubt.
I hate people dogs.
Why do you hate people dogs?
Cause I told you I grew up in the house with a dog. Well, I had an auntie that had a dog. That even in the blizzard of '79, that dog never saw the inside of the house.
Really?
Man,
She's
come
from
on.
the South.
Black people didn't treat dogs like people back in
No,
the day.
they didn't.
All right, y'all.